You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. The Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert this morning. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Hello.
How's everybody today?
A little tired.
Good. Joey must have stayed up for basketball.
I went
late.
to sleep after I went to bed after the first quarter of the Warriors Clippers game, which pretty much ended crazy.
It did?
Yeah. So Stephen Curry went to the locker room near the end of the first quarter.
Is this what you're talking about with all the old stuff?
Yes. So so the graphic has Al Horford and Steph Curry, and they're famously old
Yes.
in the league today.
Yes.
They both had outstanding performances. They were down as big as 13 in the second half, and they hit 8 threes in the fourth quarter. Horford hit a go-ahead 3, and then Stephen Curry pretty much hit a crazy dagger 3 that got the Warriors to beat the Clippers, and now they're going to play the Suns for that 8 seed tomorrow night.
All right. Curry.
So I'm guessing our dear friend Jacob Dilla is extremely nervous for that.
Probably, I would imagine.
I would
so,
assume.
although I'm sure he's under no guise that the Suns will go very far.
I was going to say the reward of winning that game is you get the best team in the league
Right.
for a 7-game series.
You'll
which-
probably get 20 free throws from the best player on that specific team.
yeah, at least a quarter maybe.
Are you calling him a free throw merchant?
Yes, he is.
He is.
He is.
It was very annoying last year when I tuned in for the finals, I will say. As someone who didn't pay any attention to anything prior to that, and then you just drop in on the finals, and you're like,
This
this
guy-
guy's at the free throw line every 2 seconds.
All this guy's trying to do is foul bait.
It's
And
him.
he's good at it.
It's him
Really
and Jalen Brunson that are like the top 2 at foul baiting.
I was
in the game.
I turned on the TV and then I realized it was on Amazon Prime, and I was like, oh dear God. I
Yeah,
have
that-
to go over to Amazon Prime to watch this basketball game that I don't even care about, and I just want background noise. But I did, and then it was halftime. It was like 10:30 p.m. and it was halftime, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done with this. Nice try on the NBA.
So Amazon Prime had another technical issue in the first game,
That's nice.
which it did not go to the technical difficulty screen like it did for at the end of the Hornets Heat game. It just blacked out for a bit and then brought the game back on. I think it was like early in the second half for the Magic and 76ers. But yeah, there's been constant complaints about Amazon Prime's coverage where the audio is just slightly ahead of the actual video.
I'm sure it was fine. I was just annoyed that I had to change it to Amazon.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had to change my app.
It's annoying because now the playoffs, you go from ESPN, ABC, and then TNT to 3 different streaming services. You got obviously ESPN as the main.
They've really NFL'd it.
Yeah, and then you get NBC with Peacock. There's going to be some games in the first round on Peacock, and then you get Prime Video added into the equation, which I think Prime Video is only doing the conference quarterfinals and semifinals where you get NBC and ESPN just doing the conference finals, and then ABC doing the normal NBA finals from there.
They NFL'd themselves, and baseball's done a little of
They're
NFL.
on every
Yeah,
sports league.
every
is
sport's
basically
The Big
just-
Ten NFL'd itself,
They're
Or did-
all chasing money.
or did the NFL Big Ten itself?
I think they are because they could potentially.
Who
Now
started this
that-
trend?
Now that's an interesting question.
Topic alert. Who started the trend of putting their product on 100 different things?
Well,
Well, the NFL has always had a cross-network stuff.
Sure, okay, but like they had 2. It was 3, I suppose.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
ESPN.
Yeah.
It was ABC, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. So, I would
No,
say.
well, I guess they always had the 4. They really have always had the 4. The 4 network.
Because I've left off NBC there, but they haven't
Yeah.
done anything
They might lose
specifically
Sunday
on
Night
Peacock,
Football.
have they? Has there ever been an NFL
Yeah,
game
yeah,
specifically on Peacock?
Yeah, there's been a couple games through the years. The Packers Ravens game was famously on
Oh
Peacock.
yeah, that's right.
and
I
then
forgot about.
I think the first game was a few years ago where the Bills played the Chargers
It-
on Peacock in 2023, I think.
It's funny how my annoyance level with the NFL on it is just nil. Like, okay, I'll go to Peacock to watch
Well,
Packers.
most of the time, I've like
Malik
there's
Willis.
during the time in which there's 100 games on, it's the
Right.
same as it ever
It's
was.
when it's a
Yeah.
specialty a
Correct.
Christmas game,
Which is
or,
fine. I have no problem with
Right.
that. I have no problem with one-off games being, on random weird networks, as long as there's not another game going on and I don't
Sure.
have to flip it back and forth all the
That's
time.
Yeah,
always been
That's the one
that
thing
has
I'm
been your most
annoyed.
consistent contention with television since I've known you.
Yes.
And it was what was your barrier of entry for streaming to begin with.
Yep.
Is that you didn't want to be I don't even know how to phrase it, but you didn't even want to have the possibility that you wouldn't be able to jump back and forth.
Yeah, and I know you're going to have to change channels one way or the other, but
With the quad box, not even true anymore.
that's true. But to change, like sometimes you have to change. So my TV in the living room doesn't have the the actual smart TV part of it, the Vizio TV part of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have certain apps.
Yeah.
So that means I have to jam in one of those sticks to my television, and then I have to so in order to switch back and forth from game to game that I want to watch, in theory, I would have to change. I have to change inputs on my television.
Yep.
I'm not changing inputs on my television. There's no way.
My workaround with this was basically to make every television have a Roku stick and just make everything through Roku.
Yeah, but it's so much easier when you just use the smart part of your TV for some reason. I don't.
Yeah, yes and no. I'm sure you're correct.
I would really rather
basically
just have it on
force
one.
myself to do this on the onset has made me only think about it through the Roku lens.
I guess so. There's just so much. Anyway, who did this? Who started this?
It's a great question. I'm trying to think of when the Big Ten started adding in Peacock. That would be their first stream.
That would have been 2 years
unless
ago.
you're counting
Well, they really brought in everyone when they officially lost ESPN. I mean, that wasn't until 2022 and then CBS and NBC came in, and then NBC obviously tried to do the
CBS's
thing.
first year was 24, right?
Yes.
Because they had the SEC all the way through 2023.
I think that's probably
So
right.
24
I think 2023 they started with a couple Big Ten games in the last.
Yeah,
year of
Nebraska
the
was
SEC
on
game.
Nebraska Maryland was on NBC in 2023.
Okay.
Remember that horrible game?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think with CBS specifically because it was a huge deal when they stopped doing the SEC, and then it was a big deal for me with my job because we were affiliated with CBS. So then it was hey, we have all these people you can talk to for content, and then they never actually wanted to do it.
No, they never do.
Shocking how the public
They don't want to do the work.
They always send out
a
a
department, and then the actual people to do the interviews don't have the same opinion on whether they want to do them or not.
They always send out a message prior to Big Ten Media Days, yeah, we'll bring all these people. I'll give NBC credit. The first year NBC's people actually wanted to do it. They actually seemed like they wanted to be there too. It really seemed like it was a message from on high, do this. This will be good for you. And I think it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, basically
and
the only
NBC
time,
only has 2 college football talents anyway. So
and CBS is we're not going to do this anymore. We'll just bring them to Big Ten Media Days, and you can talk to them in person.
That's what I mean. But they don't even
make them stand in this spot, and that's your only chance.
They don't even want to do. That's what I'm saying. They don't even want to do that.
Yeah. So. I would say probably the NFL because they had brought in Amazon.
Screw the
Yeah,
NFL.
They've been around for 5 years.
I would say Amazon and the NFL were the early adopters.
And the NFL broke the seal on Netflix too, right?
Yes.
Or
with sports.
Yes.
But not really. I mean, boxing doesn't count.
Yes. I'm your major sports. It would have been the NFL with Netflix.
Screw the NFL.
And then
thanks, Roger Goodell.
Bleep the NFL.
Was the NBA next then with this? I feel like baseball was sort of
baseball didn't show up on Netflix till last year, right?
Baseball did have Apple TV at an early time.
Yeah, I think
22.
That's true.
Yeah,
and
baseball
that triggered
second.
one Jack Mitchell and still does to this day. Even though their broadcast looks super sharp, I will say that for the Apple.
It's even more annoying when baseball has stuff on a variety of different channels because they're
Sunday
on every
baseball
night.
on Peacock.
So would you consider ESPN Plus being like the first, or like the Longhorn Network? I know the Longhorn Network wasn't like a streaming thing; it was like more of a syndicated channel,
over the air channel. Yeah,
Not really. I mean, I guess that might be like the sort of seeds of all of this.
I think of that in the same way as like, what is it, BTN to go or whatever. Like, Fox Sports had
Fox
that stuff.
Sports Go.
There's also specific ESPN Plus coverage games. Like we got that with the Big 12 now.
You get that, or you used to get that with UNO, which was great, and then all of their stuff moved to Midco, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And so you can't like watch anything anymore with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
It's a good thing Craig got out of Flow Sports, and now on ESPN Plus, it's more manageable to actually watch the games.
Joey, it is a good thing. There's no doubt about it. I don't know. I just would like everything to be on one. That's why I liked cable, but cable's gone now.
Cable's gone.
Yes,
it's not coming back.
No, it's not coming back.
What you're gonna get are just bundled packages for the rest of time. You're just gonna bundle your life.
Awesome.
You want to bundle with Amazon and Netflix and something else? Great.
Speaking of things that happened in the olden times, Joe Buck did a baseball game last night.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh wow, you just done an
Happy to hear
interview
that.
about how he was done with that phase in his life.
Joe Buck did a baseball game on ESPN between the Los Angeles Otanis and the New York Mets.
Was it like a specialty reason for him to
I'm
do
not
it?
sure. I'm not
He
sure why. He
literally
did it.
just did an interview the other. I almost sent it to you,
I remember this.
and the big pull quote from it was, "I'm done with that part of my."
I think the question was about playoff games and like World Series games. Yeah.
I think he
This
would
is
only
famously not a playoff.
I think he would only sign up if he was able to call the World Series.
No, that it's the opposite. He doesn't want to do the World Series.
Oh, he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to. He basically doesn't want the interruption of football season with it. And
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think he wants to.
He doesn't want to double
his
duty.
Credit, I don't think he wants to be like flown in to do specifically one series when he hasn't called stuff before it
Yeah,
either.
right.
That
He
makes
thinks
sense.
that's a bad look for him,
Which I
is correct.
appreciate.
That
I
makes
do too.
sense.
Joe Buck.
As the not Joe Buck guy, I think that's self-awareness that he's lacked at other times.
I am Team Joe Buck.
I'm aware.
I'm
We've had
very
this discussion
He's been great.
already multiple times in the short iteration of this show.
awesome. Well, I'd like to say it again. I'm Team Joe Buck. I saw a clip that or the clips that were coming out from last night's game. I saw that MJ Melendez was 2 for 2 with 2 doubles, which would amass about 60% of all Royals extra base hits this year, which is just
Triggering.
massively frustrating. Both of them off Shohei Ohtani. Whatever. But I saw Joe Buck's. I saw the clips from Joe Buck's appearance on TV, and I was like, "Oh man, I missed this. I missed Joe Buck doing the World Series. Those were great times." Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, coming up, we will talk to Brian Christopherson at 8:30. We may be talking to Max Olson at an unspecified time. We'll get back to you on that. And I have an opinion. What is your opinion on the fact that television is hard to watch these days?
Sports is hard to watch.
NBA playoff games are hard to find. Where is it? Who's doing the games? I don't know.
And how much do you have to pay to watch?
What
them?
does the theme music sound like? What's going on? Do you have an opinion on that? Please send it our way. Do you have an opinion on Joe Buck? Do you have an opinion on MJ Melendez? Do you have an opinion on Alex Zumwalt, the hitting coach of the Kansas City Royals? I do.
Is your opinion that of Jake Sorensen?
No, I'm never like a fire people guy, but
You would like him to be better at his job?
I would just like everyone to be better at their jobs. I'm not sure how
the constant refrain.
Vinny Pasquantino's second extra base hit of the season came because the 2 outfielders in deep right center field ran into each other last night.
Hey, you take advantage of the situations offered you.
Well, guess what they didn't do?
Win.
Well, not only win, but score the run when he was afforded third base.
It's been a rough go.
They stink
of baseball.
They like either scoring 1 or 2 runs in baseball games.
Hard way to live.
And usually 1 run. Their pitching has been pretty good this year. Anyway, if you have opinions, send them our way. Here are some ways to do that. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happen Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joey Warcola on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Once again, thanks to Liquid Trucking for bringing us the Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our Schaefer, say good morning to our YouTube streamers today. Hi, YouTube streamers.
That dovetails well because we already have an opinion on YouTube. Do we just like copy and paste this so we don't forget about it at 8 a.m.?
Yes. We need to put it I'll screenshot it and I'll put it off to the side.
Okay.
I
just don't want to forget about Sal's opinion.
No, we definitely
and there could be incentives for sending out opinions today. We do have tickets.
I do like this,
Joey. Tell them.
Do we got pairs of tickets to the Zach Bryan show at Memorial Stadium on April 25th. And if you want to go to the show, send us your opinions and you may be selected.
It's really that easy. You could go on the internet and purchase tickets for several $100s, or you could submit an opinion.
Wow.
So take your pick, whichever one sounds good to you. By the way, text from the 402, Connor, how would a Gus Johnson baseball broadcast go? Horribly. But luckily, we're in no danger of that happening because you couldn't drag Gus to a baseball game.
I'm imagining like at what point he just stops telling you who's up at the plate or even
I don't even know what he would do for 3 hours.
Well, I would assume it would just be at some time he would just start telling stories of the people that he hangs out with or whatever.
There's been multiple times where he can't get through a big noon kickoff game and Joel Klatt has to take over, including famously the 2022 Oklahoma-Nebraska game where he'll just be gone. Do you remember this?
No, I don't, because I was at the stadium that day.
So
which was not a good day to be at a stadium.
What happened? You didn't do your Sunday rewatch and tweet out clips?
No, that's not me. You're thinking of
everyone else?
19 other media.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, Gus was just gone, and then Joel Klatt was doing play-by-play and color. Someone else joined him at some point because I think I don't know if
maybe does he have a clause where if the game is that bad he can just leave?
I don't know. I think maybe it's just a creative choice.
That game was that bad. That was a bad game.
Nebraska led.
I nailed my oddly specific prediction in that game.
Oh really? What was it?
Nebraska scores on its opening drive or whatever it was.
They did do that,
and then they score on their opening drive and they lead or are tied with Oklahoma after one drive, and then it went downhill from there.
Okay, so that is a really good excuse to go look at the Husker Max page. We do this from time to time where we'll pull up an old game and just read some of the poll quotes and some of the things that happened in the game. Remember, this is the game after everyone got fired.
Yeah, this is Mickey Joseph's debut.
Yep, which is hilarious because it was a game that was looked forward to for a very long time by many, many people. And
when you're coming off the great 2021 game between these two teams.
They did play a great 2021 game, right? Yeah. And
did you go to that?
I did not.
Keep feeling like you went to that.
I know you've asked me that before, and I
will ask you again just so you're.
I was not there. Maybe you're thinking of my young little brother.
No, I often, for some reason, just assume you went because of your affinity for the grass that's inside the stadium at Oklahoma.
I do love that. Yes.
Maybe I just conflate that with the fact that I think that you went to the game so you could just be there with the grass.
That would be a great reason for me to be there, but I was not able to make it. Andy says that Urban Meyer joined after Gus got sick.
Okay.
No, it was Brady Quinn. It was Brady Quinn who joined Joe Klatt in that Nebraska-Oklahoma game.
We have a battle.
I would not argue
it's Brady Quinn.
I was actually thinking that it was Brady Quinn too. So
did they just he was off site and they did it that way?
No, he was there.
Yeah, he was there
because Big
Big
was there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What a weird deal.
Yeah. Weird day for a variety of different reasons. All right, I want to check that page out during the break and see if there's anything good from it that we can pull out. Elsewhere today on the show, we'll jump into a couple Husker football topics. I have a big picture Nebraska football question that I'd like to ask you, Mike Schaefer, that I don't even know if it's a real fully fledged topic yet, but I started typing on my computer.
We're making
last
it
night.
one.
Okay, good. I have a baseball prediction that people may or may not have seen already that we could bring up on the show and talk about the absolute euphoria that Nebraska fans would be in. And the Connor World Series would not be happy about.
Oh boy.
I wondered if it was Connor World Series related.
Some increased chatter about Memorial Stadium, the football stadium. What will come of it and when will it happen? And what do you care about? Let's revisit coming up on the show today. Creighton officially adds another in San Diego State guard BJ Davis. We'll talk about the continued additions to the Huss bus. And the Godfather retires. He steps aside and passes his fedora to the next Godfather.
Which could be Matt McMaster.
I just figured they get another, big guy.
Yeah.
He's not a big guy.
I haven't seen the new one, so this will be an interview.
Yeah, it's out there.
All right. Well, we will.
I'll learn.
Yes, you will. Yes, you're going to learn Omaha today. You didn't grow up with Godfathers, right? Or Columbus is more of Valentino's town?
No.
Oh,
Columbus
really?
is a Godfather's town.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. You like Columbus people talk about their Godfathers a lot.
Try my taco
pie. A very
pie.
well run, good place to get pizza.
Fantastic. All right, so that's what's coming up on the show today. Glad you're with us. Happy Thursday. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Dan Orlovsky tweeted, I went and checked out the For You page during the break. Dan Orlovsky tweeted 23 hours ago, I love 30A. Seaside Santa Rosa is a special little beach stretch. Let's have the best day ever. Do the work. Be good to people. LGLO. What do you think that means?
LGLO. Let's get lobster
and oysters?
Yeah, okay.
No, actually, I have no idea. It's got to be some sort of motivational thing. I don't really get it. Anyway, Dan Orlovsky wants to tell you that he's in 30A and he's really enjoying himself.
I love this. I don't know if it's a bit. You've done it a couple times now this week where you're like, I went to the For You page.
There's
and then
some
you just
really
read off
interesting
the tweet
stuff
from
on
it.
there. Yeah.
I kind of like it. I hope you keep doing this.
Okay, I will. Because it's stuff from several hours ago.
What I love about it is I don't know where it's going to go. And then you're just like, and I'm like, okay, this must be football related. But no, we're at 30A talking about lobsters and oysters.
Well, I don't think the For You thing really knows what to do either for me, because I only look at it occasionally. So I think it's trying out a lot of things. It's trying out a lot of different stuff. And so, yeah, we could get a nice sampling of my For You page, whenever you want, on command.
All right, I like it. I did it once a day. I don't care what segment you drop in with at the beginning.
That's a good 45 segment.
For You page.
Okay, we can do it. The 2022 Nebraska-Oklahoma game, final score 49-14.
Ouch.
So who do we want to pull quote from here?
Dylan Gabriel.
No. Like one of our local scribes.
Oh,
what about you? Did you have a column?
Mike Schaefer said.
I might have.
Here's some options for you. Sean Callahan, Tom Chattel, Steve Sipple, Dirk Chatlin, Amy Just, Imig, Trammell, Barry. Who? Dennis Dodd wrote things about this game.
Wow.
Cole Stukenholtz, Mitch Sherman.
Do you think that Dennis Dodd knew that he was eventually going to have a breakfast with Scott Frost and Scottsdale and write a completely and utterly nothing burger of a column?
He probably thought that
at the time of this game.
He's like, I'm going to go down to Florida and I'm going to talk to this guy.
I think it was Arizona because that's
right. It would have been Arizona.
That's where Frost was living.
Yeah.
So let's go Dirk Chatlin because
Dirk.
I don't know how many
we
more
missed
columns
Dirk.
there were after that.
He was down on the Clippers last night, I know for sure.
Dirk loves the NBA playoffs. And
he loves basketball.
Dirk and Sam love the NBA playoffs. I was like trying to join their NBA playoff love a couple years ago. I think I'm done now.
You think you're out?
Well, I'm not out of the NBA playoffs. It's just the Amazon Prime thing really frustrated me last night.
It's only there for the first 2 rounds.
All right, I'm holding.
That's a lot of rounds. That's half the amount of rounds.
Yeah, that's
Joey.
like 6 more weeks, Joey.
There's more games on Prime than there would be.
It's like a month.
There's more games on Prime than there will be on ABC.
A month of me going to Amazon Prime and it's not Thursday Night Football.
I would argue that's the worst part about the NBA playoffs. It starts in April and goes all the way to the middle of June.
Correct. That's
like
a bad part.
Well, they like to stretch out the NBA finals to like 2.5 weeks.
It's annoying.
They'll have like 2 full days in between.
And they wonder why they don't care about the seeding. Seriously, you could win any series in a 7-game series.
Right.
How about play a 1-game
It used
series,
to be worse
cowards?
than the 5-game series. Like they moved it back to a 7 to help protect the better teams more, and it really doesn't matter.
Opposite. That is the opposite.
You're an idiot.
Anyway, here's Dirk. Nebraska's past is worthy of Oklahoma's respect. Nebraska's actual team is not worthy of Oklahoma's time. Now that is rough.
I like it.
I mean, it's very accurate at the time. That is challenging.
I like it.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to hear from? How about Sipple?
Yeah.
College football doesn't want to see Nebraska in such a state of disrepair. Fox certainly didn't want to see this sort of game. Neither did Gus Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he threw up and went home.
Let's go Amy
Johnson.
Amy Just. The problems that permeate this team go deeper than one man. Who are people trying to pin that game on?
Well, I think they're
Frost.
saying that, firing Scott Frost wasn't going to fix the issues of Nebraska football in the season.
Facts.
Which I don't know was
not really an expectation, though.
Yeah. What did Barry say on the other side?
Hey, this is Barry. The Sooners didn't win a track meet. They won the wrestling matches too. Oh, you mean the pillow fights? Nebraska was very soft. Very, very soft. A lot of stuff going on. The Fox crew commented, Fox crew, including Urban Meyer, agrees Nebraska needs to, quote, find their identity. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about that is that
I feel like Urban Meyer, every time he comes here, it's like, yeah, I feel like Nebraska needs to find their identity. They got to have an identity. They got to get an identity.
Nebraska's been in the identity conversation for roughly 11 years.
There you go. Let's spin this forward. Is this the year that Nebraska has an identity?
What would you say their identity is? Like right now, if you had to describe an identity for Nebraska football.
Like a football playing identity, or like a, or like
however you want to, you take it where you want to take
program.
It. I don't want to cut you off at the knees in any way, shape, or form. This is entirely the identity that you were putting on Nebraska football.
It feels like they're trying to shed the social media influencer program tag that feels like has followed them around for a couple years. Feels like they're a little bit more social media influencer than actual like football team.
Yeah, I mean that's been true for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, like if I think they're a defensive oriented team that doesn't have a defense.
All right. I don't mind that. Yeah.
That's how I would describe them. Like that's how they want to play their games. They want to play in these close, tight games, but they don't have a good defense. They, didn't have a special teams. Last year when it was obvious to everyone they needed to score points, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's that's what it feels like to me. Like they're a team that wants to play through its defense, and its defense wasn't good enough last year to do that. And they haven't built their team to be able to do this. And here we are going into year 4 of it, and I don't know that it's that much better.
I very much wish they did have an identity.
They're certainly not a ground and pound team.
No, I mean offensively. I don't even know.
That's part of it. Is I can just avoid that entire thing by saying what I did about their defensive team without a defense.
I'm not even really sure what they're trying to accomplish. Not that it can't work out, but like I don't even know which direction.
The thing is, you don't know if it works out or not because you don't know what it is that they're trying to do because they don't know what they're trying to do because they're just trying to do things.
Correct. Yeah.
So in some ways, they can declare victory even if they aren't accomplishing whatever it is that they're attempting.
Which, by the way, I've argued for this before, and I'm sort of I'm not full throated with it, but like for a team that really hasn't figured out what they want to do on offense, having a quarterback who is very up and down, high highs and low lows is maybe not the worst thing. Because basically you could just tell him, all right, go back there and make plays. Go back there and make plays. And I think they have decent wide receivers, and we'll see what happens with the run game. But I don't mind the setup for basically telling them we're going to be a boom or bust offense.
Right.
And that's what it kind of feels like they're going to be.
Well, and I guess if nothing else, I just keep mentally going back to the Tommy Armstrong experience and what that did, if nothing else, is you took advantage of the skill set of other players because he was just willing to do things.
Tommy.
Like he was willing to throw the YOLO ball, and occasionally there was someone that
he was willing.
He was willing to just take off and run, and occasionally it worked out for like a 45-yard gain.
In 2016, his last year though, that was a pretty good offense.
That was a good. I mean, you go back and you look, that team had players.
Yeah.
They had players offensively.
But they could move the ball.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a Tommy makes a huge play offense.
No, well, I mean, they had Jordan Westerkamp. They had Stanley Morgan's first year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of who the other receivers were that year that were particularly helpful.
All right.
I think Brandon Riley was still involved at that point in time. Was Alonzo Moore a senior at that point?
I'll tell you all.
They just had guys that you could utilize in terms of their skill set. They didn't have a great running back.
Leading receiver, Jordan Westerstash, then Stanley Morgan, then Brandon Riley, then Alonzo Moore.
Okay, I named him.
And then
Stephen Carter.
See the Carter, but you skipped one.
Okay. Okay. Now I have to drill in on this. Was it a wide receiver?
Yes.
All right. The first name that comes to mind is Lane Hovey.
I would not have guessed this. I would not have guessed that this person was still here in 2016.
DeMornay Pearsonell.
Yes.
He was still here in 2017, if it helps anything.
Shocking.
He was a freshman in 2014.
I know. I only remember him in 2014 because the
really
tore
only
his
have a
knee
reason
apart
to
in
remember him.
2015.
And then the
That's
great
true.
what if? What if he had returned that punt against Oregon instead of fair catching when he had all that space? Anyways,
Okay, running backs were Terrell Newby.
Yeah.
He had a good
he's
year.
fine. Amani Cross, fine.
But Tommy ran for 500 yards that year. Divine Ozigbo had 400 yards that year. Trey Bryant added a little bit of salt and pepper at the end of it, and then there was like some Mikhail Wilbon stuff going on. People really loved Mikhail Wilbon.
They did. People still love Mikhail Wilbon.
And then Tommy didn't throw that many picks.
No,
He
he dialed down from 2015, which was his disaster year of interceptions.
I believe it was 17 that year.
Yeah.
And then he threw 8, but then he
was hurt for a big portion of it.
You talk about Tommy?
Yeah.
Well, Tommy got hurt in the Minnesota game when he leaped into the end zone to score a touchdown, and they carried him off the field.
Well, famously, he got hurt in the Ohio State game and then came back.
That is
when
also
we were down
true.
56-3, and we had like breathtaking coverage of it on television.
Bad times on that one. But yeah, he got hurt in the Minnesota game and was done for the season after that. And Riker Fife was also hurt because he screwed up his wrist in the whatever.
My
game.
lasting image of that season is that Riker Fife was playing games wearing the glove logo that Arby's used. Like that's what it looked like every time he was back.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That just the Iowa game and that bowl game were so awful that year. So bad.
The bowl game trip was fantastic because it was the
yes, everybody learned about Nashville hot
and everyone
chicken.
had a great time. And Garrett Johns won the wings eating competition.
Okay.
And then they played the actual bowl game, which some people would have argued didn't need to happen.
No, it was a nice deal for Derek Barnett.
Derek Barnett
all-time
wrecked
record.
Nick Gates, like just wrecked Nick Gates to the point that he was undraftable.
I remember
he turned into having a nice NFL career after that.
Tennessee wore horrible
did well for the
jerseys,
Giants.
and they
Did.
like stopped the game for 5 minutes to clap for Derek Barnett because he got the all-time Tennessee sack record.
They
I
had
was
their-
like, all right, I'm done with
Their slate jerseys, is that what it was?
Awful.
The slate with the orange sleeves.
Horrific.
Yeah.
horrific.
Zach Darlington came in at the end of that game.
He did. Zach Darlington, the guy.
I think Brandon Riley had a nice bowl game, if I recall.
I don't remember much except for the Derek Barnett part in the horrible jerseys. Text from the 402. Let's be a defensive-oriented team. Then goes and hires the big name OC. Still struggles to score 21 points and defense that gives up 150 rushing yards a game. Their identity is uncomplimentary football. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's been times where I didn't mind the idea. There's been times where I didn't mind the plan, but they were horrible at executing it.
I was totally on board with getting Dana Holgerson with the idea that this would help you get to, and Sam said it, like the number is 28 points. But that's the number you need.
Their most effective offense was in his first year when they didn't have a quarterback.
Was that more effective than 2024?
Like the 2024 offense put up way more yards and was better in general, but
scored more points.
I'm talking about effectiveness. So like they hung onto the ball for the entire game as much as they could. They ran the court, like they were actually decent at running the ball that year because it was the only thing they could do.
In 23?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they definitely didn't hang on to the ball. That was their big turnover year.
Right, but I'm saying when
they attempted to hang on to the ball, they just weren't very good
like the puzzle piece fit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're
in 2023, they knew that they were going to have to win games by scoring 14 points, and they played to them.
Had Harburg.
Yeah.
They were 5-2. They were 5-2 going into that last stretch of game. No,
they were. Yeah,
they were 5-2.
Or at the very least 5-3. And they lost that game at Michigan State,
and
then
UCLA,
all the rest of it,
and the rest.
What a fun conversation! All right, so we got an opinion about the Columbus Godfathers. So we're gonna get to that in our Godfathers conversation.
Okay,
Godfathers had a changing in the guard yesterday, and we'll have all the full coverage on that when we return on 1620 The Zone. Here's a comment from Sal on YouTube. Connor looks like he's wearing the Harry Potter sorting hat in the graphic where I am Garfield eating lasagna. Go ahead, Joey. Put it back up.
Let me find it. There we go.
It kind of does. Looks like I'm wearing a pointy hat. Gryffindor.
You know more about the sorting hat than you do Garfield.
I do. I know more about Harry Potter than I know about Garfield.
I cannot believe you did not get the running gags. On
I
that
know
show.
what Garfield is. I just didn't know that he loved lasagna so much.
And
which means you didn't
hates
know
Mondays.
Garfield at all.
I mean, I
can't believe it.
I'm not trying to be a Garfield poser. I know I didn't watch any Garfield. I just know that
you don't
Garfield
want to drop
is
any Garfield quotes on us?
I absolutely don't know about Garfield. I just know that he's an orange cat.
He is an orange cat.
And he
It's
got
kind of like you.
he probably got into some mischief.
It's kind of like you.
Kind of, but not really.
He wasn't mischievous.
No, he basically was very lazy and hated doing things, and
He's
more or
basically
less very cynical and didn't like people.
he's basically a get off my lawn type of cat.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
That's a good bit. Usually cats are depicted as mischievous.
he would, someone would come by and talk about how great their life was, and his thought bubble would be how awful everything is.
That's awesome. I love Garfield then. That's cool. Good job.
Like this is breaking for you.
All right, speaking of breaking news. Oh my goodness. By the way, we got this text from where was the Columbus Godfathers text that we received from before? It was basically something along the lines of, oh, here it is from Cody. I have an opinion. The Godfathers of Columbus is by far the best one and worth driving to Columbus to eat. That cannot be true.
It is just universally beloved.
You think that I should go to Columbus to eat Godfathers today?
I think if you're in Columbus, Godfathers is one of your better options.
Okay, that
Okay.
I believe
Now,
that.
Beyond that, you'll get people who have lived in Columbus or have frequented the Columbus Godfathers also tell you that it's better there than you'll get elsewhere.
Which that is possible. That is possible.
Yeah.
I've experienced places like that before.
It's just they do a really high-end job of it. I would tweet about this, and then the corporate Godfather's office would tweet back about how they do such a wonderful job in Columbus and everything else.
All right. So
So,
maybe some almost
yeah.
confirmation there. So
No, it's legitimately better than other places I've had. Now, there's people who just completely refuse to acknowledge that this could be true.
who would say that?
My wife, for starters. She
Oh.
gets so mad whenever this is a topic.
Oh,
if she's listening
no.
right now, she's angry.
I think it's very possible that one place just, it just matters more to them.
Yeah, well,
You
it matters a lot to the family in Columbus that owns it.
Sal says, check out the Hastings Taco John's if we're doing small town restaurant tour here. Hastings Taco John's. I've spent a lot of time
I
in
was going to
Hastings.
say, you're the Hastings correspondent of this show.
I've spent a lot of time in Hastings, and I don't know about the lore of the Taco John's. I know about Nick's Gyros.
I need to spend more time in Hastings.
Hastings is a
I've
good
never
place.
been to
It's
Hastings.
like I wouldn't call it a blind spot because I've been there a bunch, but I just don't spend, I've been there to go to basically districts. We're always in Hastings for Columbus for basketball.
Absolutely.
Or you'd play them in various sports or whatever, but I never spent time.
Nice
in
town.
Hastings.
We'll go to Brickyard Park. We'll go to
Yeah,
Fisher
it should be
Fountain.
part of our summer tour of Central Nebraska.
We'll go pick some corn. All right, here's what happened at
Never picked corn.
the Godfather's Pizza. An emotional video yesterday was released.
Your uncle would be so proud of the man that you've become. Only 3 people in this family have worn the fedora. Your uncle, me, and now you.
I don't take this lightly. Are you sure, Godfather?
Do it.
I love it.
He puts on the hat, and then he becomes the Godfather. There you go. It was a big reveal, but I don't know. I'm not sure who the guy is, but I had the great pleasure of meeting Godfather 2, that Godfather, a couple of years ago at a Creighton basketball game, and I got him to say. I asked him. I was doing a bit for the video board or whatever, And I was like, who do you think's going to win today? And he's like, the Blue Jays are going to do it or something like that. I was like, this is great.
No, that is great. I received a text.
Uh-oh.
I'm not mad. I just think it's funny. You won't meet a Columbus person that won't tell you how good The Godfathers is, even unprovoked. Me.
It's a little tough because, she's defenseless in this conversation.
No, I get it. Yeah. She goes on. She's like, me, hey, the weather is really nice. Columbus person. Oh, that is really cool. But did you know Columbus Godfathers is the best ever?
If it's your calling card as a town, then, that's fair.
It's a good calling card to have.
It's not a bad one.
I'm quite proud of it.
At least it's a calling card. Matthew says now the Columbus McDonald's, though. And he does not seem to like the Columbus McDonald's.
I don't have any issue with the Columbus McDonald's. It certainly wouldn't be on the lower end of the fast food options there.
Texter, Schaefer, were you a big Doozies guy growing up?
I did love Doozies. It was a shame when Columbus lost its Doozies.
Okay. And also Cody says we could, go to the Godfathers, which is also near the Pawnee Plunge, which Schaefer and I have experience of doing a radio show from.
Have you been to Glures? You know Columbus. We
went to Glures, and I got something absurd. I can't remember what it was, but that place was cool.
Did you get gizzards there?
I don't know. I think I got a giant. I think I want to say I got a giant pork tenderloin.
Oh, you did, yeah. It's just bar food, but it's pretty much any sort of bar food you could ever imagine. They'll make.
Yep, this is a good place. So congratulations to Godfathers. Big change. There's a third Godfather, and we'll see what happens to the pizza now. Hopefully, and theoretically, it will stay the same.
I think it'll stay the same.
But nothing will be the same without
It's weird. That guy's been doing it for a long time.
Very long time.
Like
I only learned yesterday that he was the second Godfather.
I learned yesterday, or not yesterday, but a day before. Whatever.
All right. Congrats to them, folks. We'll take a break. We'll be back 7:00 hour after this on 1620 The Zone. This is a good thought starter. Continue to let us know, correspond with us here, whether it's on the YouTube stream, that might be the easiest way, or at on the text line at 402-951-1620, or of course in the Equitable Bank inbox or in the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. What is a chain restaurant or a chain fast food place that for whatever reason you just hold in higher regard than all of the other versions of that same place? So we have a couple of nominees. Obviously, this conversation starts with the Columbus Godfathers, which I can neither confirm or deny, but I'll take Schaefer's word for it. Mike says the Chinese buffet in Columbus is solid as well. Any thoughts on this?
There's been a few different Chinese buffets in Columbus that I've had throughout time. So I don't know if it's the Super China buffet or which one it is. So
we'll get confirmation on that. Headley says the Taco John's in Grimes, Iowa is elite. Now, we fully understand on this show that there are certain places that you hold in a higher regard just because you probably visited there a lot. Like, I actually have an opinion on the Taco John's in Creston, Iowa. Not many people do. I could tell you that it's a lot like all the other Taco John's, but I do hold it in higher regard than all the other Taco John's because I've actually visited there a lot, and I would get 6-pack and a pounds when I was playing junior college baseball.
So when I went to South Dakota State, the Taco John's in Brookings was held in super high regard.
Interesting.
And they allegedly won awards, regional awards for the quality of which they managed the restaurant.
Tay says the Runza in Friend is unmatched. And Headley says, check out the South Amigos in Kearney.
The South Amigos.
The South Amigos. So you would think that would be closer to the interstate.
Yeah, it would seem that way. I'm trying to think of where that Amigos would be.
I have experienced really one day of my life in Kearney. Mark Onweiler took me. We went to this weird radio conference back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And we went out there and stayed at the worst hotel you can imagine. And Mark was really he really wanted to show me Kearney. And so we did all of the different things, and that was my one day in Kearney.
I look forward to a Central Nebraska tour of this show.
Me too.
Because I want to experience more Hastings. You need to experience more Kearney. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, we need to find our way to these towns. This summer months are coming up. You never know. We need stuff to do. Sal says pragmatic reason here for these small town restaurants. Small town restaurants, they don't turn over staff as frequently as big city chains. The continuity matters. That's a great point. That's an excellent point. People at those towns have been working at the Godfathers for years.
One, I'm assuming the people who own and franchisee a lot of the smaller town places are also directly involved in its day-to-day operations in a way that the franchisees of an Omaha or Lincoln.
Yeah, they probably own 6 of them.
Right.
Franchise.
They're maybe stopping by one of them a week.
Text from the 402, the Taco Inn in Lincoln, a.k.a. Crime Town.
Never been a Taco Inn guy.
I usually go to Egg Roll King if I'm over there.
Egg Roll King, I have never been to.
Egg Roll King is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good, but
it's good.
It's edible.
I had Southwest egg rolls again last night. I wish that I could put that higher on my tier of appetizers than the top tier that it was at.
You missed your opportunity.
So good.
You missed your opportunity.
So good.
All right. 7 o'clock hour here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network in places like Grand Island, Hastings, and Kearney. And a quick reminder that we will have your opportunity to win Zach Bryan tickets today. So send in your opinions at Happen Shave on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Do that, and you will automatically be entered in to potentially get sent a couple of tickets to the Zach Bryan concert at Memorial Stadium next Saturday. Also, you could enter online at 1620thezone.com. There's a Red Zone giveaway tab there as well, and we will have your chance. We will draw a name out of the hat at some point at the end of this week or next week to win more tickets to the Zach Bryan concert. All right, here's my random big picture Nebraska football question.
Here we do it.
So you have to, in order to do this topic, you have to agree or at least note the premise of it.
Oh.
I feel like the general takeaway from the NIL/portal era for most programs, once again, general and for most, this is very general, is that maybe the deck has been reset
and your history doesn't matter all that much? Are you willing to go along with that premise?
Yeah.
Okay. Without being overly specific. So my question is this. Have you, a Husker fan, gained any hope whatsoever from the current landscape of college football? Have you gained any hope by the fact that the quote unquote deck has been reset around college football, or you've we should have been on a timer for how long it was going to take to mention Indiana, but Indiana won a national championship. People forget that.
That'd be a good bit. You mark the time down every day that you first mention Indiana, or
38 seconds.
Okay.
Have you gained any hope from this? Or let me frame it to you this way. So there's a couple other options. Have you gained any hope, or is it hard to tell because Nebraska just isn't doing football stuff right? Or is it possible that you feel less optimistic about Nebraska football and its place in college football and competing in the current landscape because you have this sort of detachment from history, which is famously the thing that Nebraska has going for it.
Sure,
it's history. So there's an array of options here. I'm curious to hear which way you go with.
One, this is a well put together question, because if asked, if you're like, hey, we want to cover this from all sides, I could put an argument together for any of these three. Now, what I actually believe is probably somewhere closest to the first option, in that
you've gained hope.
Yes, but not because Indiana won a national title or anything like that. It's because I think the setup of moving from, a 2-team national title to a 4-team national title to now a 12-team national title allows me to actually believe in the year of 2026, not that this team is going to be involved in it, but in the year,
indignant.
I want to make that
Not
very
that this
clear
team is going
in
to
case someone wants to clip this out and put me on the internet.
Yeah. Don't put it on the internet.
I think that the 12-team college playoff gives me a better feel that Nebraska could actually be in a college football playoff scenario than certainly the previous system of 2 or 4 did. Because I have a tough time, not that Nebraska couldn't win the Big Ten, but a lot of things have to go absolutely right for Nebraska to win the Big Ten. They would need to have the roster, the schedule, the coaches, all of it to just win the conference. I think winning the conference might be harder than winning a national championship some years, because the path of doing so and an 18-team conference and who you might have to play and who other teams get to avoid and, whatever else.
Yeah.
Whereas
the bracket, in theory, the bracket could break right for you in the playoff.
Right. Well, you could have Miami's run where you take out one big team, you catch an Ole Miss team that maybe overachieved to get to where they were. Mm-hmm. You get by a Texas A&M team that was flawed in the first place, that some people felt like sort of managed their schedule well enough to get to where they did.
Yep.
So whatever. It's not to say that, the Big Ten is more difficult than the college football playoff. It's just to say that the way it could break could be.
Sure.
And so it's just the fact that you could get in now. I don't think that I ever viewed Nebraska's ability to get into the college football playoff with 4 teams without winning the Big Ten. There was no way they were ever going to be an at-large team in my mind. They would never get the benefit of the doubt from the people who were in charge of putting those teams.
Not with 4, no.
And so now that you have 12, I think that helps. Now,
and you're going to have 16. I mean, 16's coming.
16 or 24 or 48 or
God,
whatever. Yeah. So that only is going to allow for a greater possibility of inclusion, which allows for a greater possibility of it actually happening. As far as Nebraska specifically, there's a long way to go with that, but the college football landscape makes me believe that it's significantly more possible than I would have thought in, say, 2016, the last time Nebraska was even relevant, when they were 10th in the college football playoff poll going into the Ohio State game or the Wisconsin game.
Yep.
So
they were 7th
or coming out of it. One of the two.
Coming out of it, they were in the there.
So whatever it was,
they lost in overtime.
I feel better about that. Doesn't necessarily think, again, caveat, not this team, but I think that they have a better opportunity.
Yeah, this is a broad. This is a
So
general.
from a very
yeah.
I guess holistic or broad overview perspective, feel a lot better about their chances of being involved in the national picture because it's more inclusive than when it was really restrictive.
You know, when I thought about this last night, when this idea sort of hatched in my brain, this is how it came about. Like I was sort of thinking to myself, I wish that I had a better picture of where Nebraska actually stood as far as, once again, this is a broad over. I know where they stand in wins and losses, but I think everyone from top to bottom, whether you're inside the Nebraska bubble or outside of it, would say Nebraska is underachieving. Nebraska is continually
I would love to
underachieving.
meet the person who doesn't think that they're
right.
underachieving.
I wish that they were just achieving. If they were just achieving, then I would have a better idea of where they stand. I just can't tell. I think the water is so muddy around this thing that I cannot tell if this whole where this has landed, NIL transfer portal era thing, and everybody, the deck being reset. I can't tell if this is an advantage for Nebraska or a disadvantage. I think I can make arguments both ways. I think Nebraska is pretty well put together and organized from an infrastructural standpoint and all those different things. I think the reason why that they haven't been able to get the football right is more simple than people make it out to be. It's not about the fact that they can't compete because they don't have this, and this, and this. They just haven't been able to get the football part right. They haven't been able to get the football coaches hires right. Those people haven't been able to get their staffs right, or their quarterbacks, or the timing just didn't line up, like all of those different things. And so I can't tell, I wish I had a better idea of where Nebraska would top out at should they approach that level. I just think we've been so far away from that for a long period of time. So I mean, to answer my own question, like I'm really in the middle. I don't think I feel less optimistic about Nebraska competing in the current landscape. I don't think we have enough information to say that they can't, but it's hard to imagine them being able to because they've just been so far detached from it.
Right. I mean, here's an example, and I used them sort of as in the conversation about Miami, but like, there's no reason Nebraska can't have a season the way that Texas A&M did. You have to go get your coach has to assemble the roster, and your coach has to be good. And I think Mike Elko is a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean, so right there's a big difference between A&M and Nebraska. I mean, Mike Elko took over that job
and for Texas
immediately
A&M
had success at a place that, they consistently were a 4 or 5 loss team for most of the last decade. Having switched over into the SEC. I mean, after Johnny Manziel, there hasn't been much there at Texas A&M.
But with that being said, like, you might doubt their ability to be in the conversation on a year-to-year basis, but it made sense that Texas A&M was able to put it together for a year, get the right breaks on their schedule, and win games close.
And how do they do it? They had a defensive-oriented head coach who assembled a great defense, and they scored enough points with Marcel Reed at offense.
Absolutely Nebraska's path. Yeah. I mean, that is 100% Nebraska's path.
And this isn't to say that I think Nebraska can turn into Oregon or one of these other teams that I think is perennially going to be a college football playoff team. It's to say that in those years where they can maximize what they have, they can do what Indiana did in 24. They can do what Texas A&M did in 25. They can be those teams. Like, there's nothing that precludes them from doing that as a program. It happens if they have the right people in place that can organize and put everything else together. But as a program, there's nothing that's preventing that from happening. There's no invisible force that says everything has to be awful here.
Yeah.
You get into the conversation can this staff do it? Different conversation.
But then you'll stop yourself and you'll think, okay, if there's no invisible, can you really prove to me that there's no invisible force? Because why does it keep happening this way? Like, why does it keep happening this way over and over and over and over again? And like, I think the answer is more simple once again than people make it out to be. But like, I don't blame people for thinking, well, maybe we just can't do this in this day and age. Maybe we just can't do this. I don't believe that. I don't think that that's true. But it's been going on long enough, and I think that's why you see a lot of, the energy that you feel right now around Nebraska football. It's just, it's been a long time, and so people are starting to wonder, like, gosh, maybe we really can't. Like,
I guess there's sort of this aspect of it to me where it's like Nebraska football was so good for so long that you kind of had the expectations that it was always going to be like that. And now the realization is that it isn't. And then you look at these other sports that are having their moments of success, and it's like they're coming off of droughts that led to these moments of success. And I don't even have to use basketball as the obvious example. You can look at baseball right now where they're having a moment of success. I don't know how sustainable it is. I don't know if they're going to be a top 25 team every year. I think they can be. I think they have the pieces and the infrastructure and all of that. But let's say that they go take care of USC and they take care of everything else, and they're a 15 and they're hosting a regional for the first time since 2007.
7 or 8.
Yeah, whatever. 2008. It was 2008. So that's, 18 years. Basketball went however many years between just literal NCAA tournament appearances, plus literally just winning their first game about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, there's nothing that precludes those programs from having success. They just didn't. But everything that Nebraska has to offer in terms of the infrastructure and everything they have in the athletic department, it all allows for success. You have to have the right people that are put in place. That's the real Matt Rule conversation. It's he, the guy that is able to do this. Right now, we don't have an answer for it. It looks like no, because so far through 3 seasons, they haven't broken through.
I agree. I think it's, I really think
that's what I mean by there's no invisible force.
But people do that. People do the, well, the world has changed and this is why Nebraska can't do this. I tend to agree with you that it's like, I think what you're explaining in simple terms is the reason why Nebraska hasn't been good at football is because they haven't been good at football. It's not because there's
there's
like
other
the
things
invisible
in there.
There's
the
too
much meddling with the football program relative to other programs. I fully believe that part of basketball and baseball's success is that they get left alone in a way that football doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But the more that Nebraska sort of spins its wheels, the less there's going to be people that sort of get involved with football. Now, we'll see. I think Matt Rule has had a more open highway than certainly Mike Riley had or Bo Pelini had.
Yeah. There is some
he
stuff.
has to take advantage of that, though.
There is some stuff. We'll talk about this with Memorial Stadium a little bit later on, but I had this thought too. Like, there is some stuff that you can do now. I don't think don't get me wrong here. The pressure is not off. The pressure is most certainly on. But, there's this kind of not so pressure packed feeling around Nebraska football right now because of their lack of success, in a very long time. There might be some things that you can do that you just wouldn't have been able to do before. And I have a specific question as it pertains to the stadium a little bit later on in the show, because there was a thing when the stadium plan came out for the first time with Trev. There was one thing, I'll tell you what it is, capacity, that people took issue with. They still, at that time, were dead set on wanting to be one of the biggest stadiums in college football. Which
inability
I didn't get at the time.
To read the room on that.
Yes.
Is just, even read the landscape of what college football is.
But I don't think people care anymore. But I don't think people care. Like, that is one thing.
More people would rather it be a 70,000 more intimate stadium that you have 70,000 people in a frenzy than, trying to find 15 extra thousand people to make your sellout streak survive.
We'll do this later. But once again, like, I think what being bad has afforded you the opportunity to do is, reset the deck yourself a little bit, like
reinvent yourself.
Not quite, not so beholden to what the fans want and how it was in the 90s and tradition and all those things. That doesn't have to be a bad thing, like, I don't know, maybe there's a really glass half full way that you could frame up the last 10 years of Nebraska football. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Here's John on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. He says, I feel that nothing matters in college football that Nebraska could possibly take advantage of until Matt Rule is no longer the coach. He is never going to be anything other than a 500 coach. And because Dannon stupidly gave him an extension, we have to sit here and eat it until he's not. That might be true. That may end up being true. Matt Rule just might not be the guy. We've talked about it a little bit on the show. I don't think he's probably the guy to take Nebraska to the next level. But
he has to prove it.
I still think that they've raised the floor a little bit, and I do wonder if he's the guy to take them back to the Bo level, if you want to put a tag on it. I wonder if he can get them there.
Which the Bo level would have you on the outside looking at the college football playoff in the odd year.
And I am pretty sure that he's not the guy to take him above that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's happening.
And above that is a small group of coaches.
It's rarefied air. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's not that. But I do wonder if he could get you to sustained 8, 9, and 10 win seasons. I don't know that we know the answer to that yet. And I know it's been 4 years or whatever, but I don't know that we know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go. There's John will always comment on Matt Rule and him being the coach here. Let's see. Do I have any texts here? 402. Oh yeah, we'll do this later. Once again, the Insta poll. What is the best capacity for Memorial Stadium? 60, 70, 80, 90,000. Maybe we'll ask that on an Insta
I
poll.
have a number.
Mike Schaefer has an opinion. Text from the 515. The first thing for me in football is this: does the culture, ultimately the players in the field, show the same level of pride in the N as the people like listening to this show? Yeah, I don't know.
People saying that they don't?
I'm not sure. I mean that stuff,
Like, I'm pretty sure Emmett Johnson really, really, really cared about everything he did at Nebraska.
Yeah.
I think Ja'Cory Barney lives and breathes Nebraska.
I don't think it's particularly a level or a lack of care that has stopped Nebraska from getting to where it's wanted to go. I think, like I've said before, I think there's a little bit of like entitlement that is built into the DNA of the program, unfortunately. But like, and it's Matt Rule's job to try to remove that air as much as he can. But I don't know if it's like lack of care.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's a lack of care. I think they have guys that really care, but that doesn't mean that they can just show up and beat Minnesota on a Friday night. Like, wanting to be a good Nebraska football player or caring about the program of which you play for is not the same as being prepared to show up to play a team that wants to beat your brain in.
All right. So want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Always feel free to give us a call, send us a text. Once again, send in your opinions for I Have an Opinion coming up in just a little bit. Brian Christopherson will join us at 8:30 as well. We have plenty to come, including that stadium topic and more coming up on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Bert Kreischer is back, folks. December 6th at the Mid-America Center, and Sportsline Conduct has your way into the show this week. And also, you could double your chances with an online entry at 1620thezone.com. An email from Old Man Doug on his own Old Man Doug Equitable Bank inbox. Fast food star restaurants, the McDonald's in York off of I-80. There was a time in my life when I was a child and I was going out to the farm with my parents. I had pretty well nailed down which McDonald's were better than the others, specifically on I-80 from Omaha to Hastings, which is only a 2-hour stretch on I-80, and there was probably only like 4 or 5 different options. But York was a common stop for the Happers. There's no doubt about it. So I can't disagree with Doug there. Then an email from Terry about hope. Hi guys. Yes, I have hope. We have an administration and coach that embrace today's world, unlike say Clemson. We have a GM studying the landscape, an infrastructure designed to compete. Our head coach has NFL experience, which should prepare him for business type decisions. Our head coach makes coaching personnel decisions when he needs to, not too late. We're not building teams strictly through the portal like Colorado. So we have the bricks in place to succeed. Will we? I don't know. From Terry. There's definitely a positive, like a glass half full version of, in a glass half empty version of everything Terry just said.
I largely agree with the idea that things are in place. Like I think that you have in Troy Dannon an athletic director that understands the current landscape of college athletics and wants to win and will do the best that he can in terms of putting resources in front of his coaches so that they can win.
Oh, he very much he will spend the money. Yes.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's part of the job.
Absolutely.
Like, he has to be able to go out and raise the money too and figure out how to spend the money and everything else. But I definitely think you have that. He said something about Rule that he understands did he say the landscape or something about the current age of college athletics?
Yeah, and makes business type decisions and makes coaching personnel changes, swiftly.
I think one of the things that Rule does better than his previous, coaches at Nebraska, and this isn't like a huge, feather in the cap because you're not really beating out great coaches in this. I think he understands student athletes a hell of a lot better than Scott Frost, who never talked to them.
There's no doubt.
When they were on his own team. He had no relationship with a number of players.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had, Mike Riley, who I think cared, but there was a perception of him that I think existed beyond the reality of it. You had Bo Pelini, who I think loved his players, but wasn't maybe the easiest personality for everyone to get along with. So, I think that matters to a point. But ultimately, all of this is irrelevant if you can't get the on-field part to go in the direction you want it to go. And so they have to figure out how to stop giving away games on the field. Like that is where all of this comes down for me. And that's where Matt Rule will be decided as a coach, is if he can stop underachieving, which I feel they've done 3 years in a row now. And to me, achieving this year would just be getting to 7-5. I don't know if they can do that.
They may have achieved in his first year. Given how it turned out,
with Michigan State and UCLA at the end of that year, the way they lost those games, I can't do it.
But the
way they lost to Maryland and Wisconsin.
But they won some games they probably shouldn't have won to get to 5-3 or whatever it was.
Yeah, maybe the Illinois game on the road.
That team was
limited.
Yeah.
They were limited.
Yeah.
100% limited.
They may have achieved,
but you can't be in those situations in 4 straight games of Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, and Wisconsin.
They have not achieved
and come away with none of those as wins.
They have achieved nothing in November in 3 years. That much is for sure. Okay, let's transition over to a baseball topic real quick. I saw this going around yesterday. This is from a ranking system called Pair Rankings. Have you heard of this?
No.
They're trying to kind of be like the KenPom of college baseball.
Oh, okay.
So they do some different things, and they put out a bracket sim basically yesterday, which I figured you would love because you love bracket sims. Why don't you take a look at your screen, Mike Schaefer, and tell me what you see on the projected bracket for the College World Series.
Sounds It's a lot of N.
Please explain.
I don't see Hawaii winning in the first round is what I don't see.
So the first thing that jumps off here is that Nebraska wins the baseball national championship. But then you look a little bit closer, and somehow it gets better than Nebraska winning the national championship. Let me explain. They don't end up being a regional host, but they do win the Tuscaloosa regional, which is great. And, probably, it'd be great to go down there and win and beat an SEC team and all of those different things. And then for the Super, they have to go to College Station to play Texas A&M, where they win 2 out of 3 games. And then in the first game in the College World Series, the opening game of the College World Series for Nebraska, they run into Kansas, who they have apparently a newfound blood feud with, which we'll get to experience again next Tuesday, and somehow get through the 4-team bracket of Miami, Mississippi State, KU, and themselves. Win that, advance to the championship series, where they play Tennessee, who won their 4-team bracket of Georgia Tech, Oregon State, Wake Forest, and Tennessee, which the Tennessee thing, I don't really know how that happens this year, but anyway.
Something with Big T, probably.
I don't really know how any of this happens.
Good Lord. Is Big T going to be a guest if we get a Nebraska-Tennessee championship?
Absolutely.
I think we have to just lock that
We
in.
will have to send a message to
The
Big T.
Connor World Series.
The Connor World Series would be an absolute shambles if this was
I
the
think you'd
case.
enjoy it, though. You'd be
I'd have
okay,
fun. Yeah.
Maybe there's something to this.
Yeah. No, I would embrace it, of course. I would embrace it. I just wouldn't be sitting over here in the corner like Nebraska's here.
For some reason, I just superimposed your head on the fan sitting at the church basement with his arms.
Yeah, the run the ball football guy. Yeah. That guy. That would basically be. No, I don't think that would be me. But
So
what a bracket!
CWS field would be Miami,
Yes.
Mississippi State,
Yes.
Kansas, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, Oregon State, Wake Forest, Tennessee.
That's right.
There's not a lot of SEC representation in that. Like we're like what, a year or two removed where there's like 6 of your 8 teams were from one conference.
Yeah, we had a really good spread. I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, the year that Oral Roberts was in it, and
was it the year that LSU won it? And I don't remember who they beat in the finals, but that was the Skeens Louder year.
Florida. I think.
Yeah,
it was Florida.
I know it was an all SEC final, but I think the run of teams was really good that year. Because that was, I think, Oral Roberts and Stanford and Wake Forest and
TCU was in it that year.
Yeah,
I want to say
that's right.
Yeah, there was a good spread that year, but then I think we got back to one of the years after that, like 6 out of 8 SEC teams. So it comes and it goes as it always does, and it's a tournament after all. So there you go. There's your baseball bracket sim of the day, which I didn't think we'd be doing here on this show.
Will they have a different bracket sim every day?
I don't know. The pair ratings thing is interesting. I'm not sure.
So if that's going to be changing every day, does that just go into the 940 segment for us? Is that how we're going to finish every show now?
I'll have to do a deeper dive on this pair rankings thing and see what's going on here. I see their tweets all the time, but I haven't dove into like the website or the actual rating system that they use.
So it has potential though.
Debo writes in, he says, JFC, whatever that stands for. Am I going to need to go
Jersey
to 1620 after dark to get my BJ talk? He really wants to talk about BJ Davis, the new Creighton commitment. We have time. We're not
Debo. Even halfway through the show.
Yeah, Debo, we have time. I have an opinion. We still have the stadium.
His opinion is that we should talk more about BJ.
We're going to get all of our topics in today. We're going to get all of our topics in today. Don't worry. Don't worry about the topics. Schaefer even brought his yearbook.
I did.
Wait, you did?
Yeah. Even though it looks like a notebook, Schaefer brought his yearbook because he remembered that conversation that we had in the crossover yesterday, which Matt didn't like.
What does Matt like?
I'm not sure.
He's always
I
angry.
want to know what percentage of crossovers he walks away from and he's like, that went well.
He does double the crossover since he's the midday show.
Maybe today we should try and be less combative.
Yeah, well, I never seek to be.
I don't
combative.
either. It just happens that way.
All
He
of a
just
sudden
says
we just
something that
yelling
casually
about
happens.
things, and you're like, "Wait a minute,
know.
I don't agree with this."
he just says something, and I'm just like, all right, well, let's ask some questions about this, and then we end up in an argument. That's the way it goes. Trust me, Debo. I promise we're going to talk about Creighton's haul. It's no duh haul, but it is a haul right now. Creighton's done a nice job. Doug even emailed about Creighton, and I have an opinion. Also, one of Doug's opinions was Schaefer has the best laugh in radio.
Oh,
The wheeze laugh, or sometimes you do the wheeze laugh,
Okay.
and sometimes you do just like a normal laugh.
I guess I don't know. I just laugh.
I do love a good wheeze laugh.
Okay, we'll have to clip it so I can know which specific laugh it is that is the best.
Then,
I have like a big belly laugh.
and then Doug has some Creighton related opinions as well. Also, it's good to hear from the Section 220 boys. Mark my word, Schaefer will be sitting in Section 220 next year with a Jason Green jersey on our road to the Final Four.
Honk honk! I would happily join
Jason
the Section 220
Green.
boys for a game.
Oh,
I will not be wearing a Jason Green jersey.
now are you just saying
You're an idiot.
this like I have said this, that I was going to join the Section 220
No, I'll go do
boys
it.
and continued to not join the
I'm
Section
more than
220?
happy to go to a game with our listeners.
Look at that.
We'll
And then-
make it happen.
Maybe you'll be surrounded by such great people and you'll be like, wow, this is not at all what I thought that this was.
I've been to Creighton games before.
But maybe you'll just go into it with a little more open mind when you set the Section
Jays aren't
220.
that bad after
I
all.
want to know. They seem legendary. That the fact that I'm aware of their section. I don't know any of their names or anything.
I don't either.
I was talking with a Creighton season ticket holder yesterday, and he was in the 200s. I forget which section. It's not 220. It might be like 221. He might be right next door.
The Upper Bowl, I always feel so strongly on the Upper Bowl. We do like Upper Bowl appreciation night. And so all of the little hits that I do will be like upstairs, and we'll do like, season ticket holder shout outs. Like there was a couple people who hadn't sold their seats or whatever and had gone to every game. And they're always like so thankful. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to spend more time up here because these are my people. These are the people that I want to hang out with. Maybe I'll just send my proxy.
Okay. Yeah,
Mike
let's
Schaefer.
do that. Let's I will say this. It is a disservice when you go to arena events and all of their like competitions and giveaways are always for the 100 level section. And you have the people that
I
are in
know.
the 200s and 300s and they just never get to partake.
I really try as hard as I can to throw t-shirts up to the upstairs. I just don't have the cannon for it anymore.
I have confirmation from the Creighton season ticket holder. It is section 221.
Whoa,
So,
Section 221 boys.
yeah. So there could be just like an entire, thing going on over there.
A quick question with Nebraska baseball from Mike here in the text line. Good morning, guys. I have a question. If Nebraska ends up taking 2 out of 3 games against USC and then wins against Kansas and then wins 90% of the rest of the season, what was the landscape of college baseball be for the chances for Nebraska? Oh, he's basically asking, will Nebraska host a regional?
I think that's their best route. I think they have to win 90% of their games remaining. How many regular season games do they have left?
Not very many. Not as many as you would think.
Probably about 14. That sound right?
College baseball. Let's go to Nebraska and let's go to their schedule. Okay. Wow, what happened to Warren Nolan? 3 against USC, 1 against Kansas, 3 against Illinois. You're up
18.
to 7. Okay. Good job. But they don't play anybody after this weekend. So,
So
yeah.
basically, yeah, like if they can take 3 out of 4 in that, and then they win, of the remaining 14 games after that, they win 12 of them.
Yeah, and then maybe rip off a few in the old Big Ten tournament.
Give us the UCLA Nebraska championship game in the Big Ten tournament.
There you go.
And then they beat UCLA, of course.
There's
No,
a path. I would just
definitely a path. I just don't think it's likely.
I just
Like,
don't think it's like, I have an opinion. I just don't think it's like the thing that people need to be worried about.
I
It's
agree.
like everyone, it's the only thing people are capable of talking about
Well, I
with
think they
Nebraska
just
baseball.
want it because it hasn't happened for so long.
Well, but they're gonna make the tournament, whether they're a 1 or a 2. It would be great for them to do it. I just don't think all of the energy and effort needs to be focused singularly toward if they host a regional, I'm in the best mood ever. If they don't host a regional, I'm gonna die.
Well,
Like that's what it feels like right now.
there's also this element of like, okay, maybe they don't host a regional, but you know what they have is a bunch of home series that you can go to where you can have 6,000 some people or 7,000 some people
Yeah.
on a great Saturday, being there, creating an awesome environment for Nebraska baseball in conference play. I get that it's not a regional, but you can still show up more than what we've seen there.
Like the hosting a regional is not the holy grail here. Nebraska is well positioned for a
it has
postseason.
really become this dominant part of this
it's
conversation.
become a bit annoying,
Which is kind of funny because that the bracket sim of the day, they don't even host a regional and they win the national title.
Exactly. It's a
And
great
if the computers say it, then it can happen.
It can be done. We'll take a break. We'll have the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's hit the headlines before I have an opinion. Coming up in just a couple minutes, get those opinions in. You may have a chance to win tickets to the Zach Bryan concert at Memorial Stadium next week, home of the Savannah Bananas. Memorial Stadium.
That is true.
Home of the Savannah Bananas. All right, what do we got for headlines, Joey?
All right, the first headline is large ice block mysteriously crashes through Whittier home. Supervisor demands FAA investigation.
Oh, it fell out of a plane. That's
I am interested.
I am as well.
We're gonna put a star next to that one,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what
Hit
story
me
it
with
is.
the second one.
Humanoid robot chases pack of wild boars in bizarre video. The hero we don't deserve.
It's got to be number one. Got to be number one. I'm interested in watching the video.
Yep.
But that's about all. All right. Large ice block mysteriously crashes through a home. And there is a potential FAA investigation. This is from Whittier, California, from KABC. A homeowner in Whittier is left picking up the pieces after a large block of ice mysteriously fell from the sky and crashed through his home. Photos shared by homeowner Janice, our LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn, shows what appeared to be a large mass of ice covered in dirt that landed on the couch inside of a man's home, plus a large hole torn through the ceiling. It happened just after 11:15 a.m. on April 10th. Hahn said resident Uter Grau heard what sounded like an explosion, and that's when he discovered a large block of ice damaged to the living room ceiling. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Homeowner Thanaya Manga looked up flight data, which showed that a plane was passing directly over the neighborhood at the time of the incident. Now, Hahn is requesting a thorough and timely investigation from the FAA. Quote, "We are lucky that Uter was not in his living room when the block of ice crashed through his ceiling. I am bringing this incident to the attention of the FAA because they need to investigate what happened and take whatever steps necessary to prevent it from happening again. I would like to know the results of this investigation personally." The owner of the home says that she submitted a formal complaint to the FAA and is saving the ice in a freezer bag for the investigation. The gaping hole in the ceiling has since been patched. Quote, "We definitely want to know what it consists of and if it's going to affect our health. Secondly, we understand if it is an airplane or something of the fact that we understand why it happens, because even right now, as we're speaking, there's a plane over us and it's scary." Manga noted that the ice has a bad smell,
Oh, no.
and she is somewhat concerned that she touched the ice and doesn't know what it consists of. At this time, the exact origin of the ice is unknown, but of course, the investigation is pending.
We all have a good
What?
idea what it could be.
But is that real? Does the ice does it freeze?
Well,
I
mean,
think when stuff gets dropped from an airplane, I should ask my sister about this.
But no way. I mean, if it's flying that low, it's not.
yeah, that is.
They would have
is
had to
true.
actually drop a block of ice from
Yeah,
the airplane.
That is true.
I genuinely have no idea what any of the answers are to any of this. And I don't know that the homeowners will get any actual answers on it either.
Well, the FAA is going to have to tell us. We
Yeah.
want answers.
But I don't know that they're going to have satisfactory answers.
Where'd the block of ice come
Right?
from?
Like,
Oh, I think they'll find out.
well, you have more faith in government agencies than
I do. I watched the movie Flight with Denzel Washington.
You have more faith in government agencies.
They found out that there was not 2 but 3 shooters in the galley trash can.
Such a great movie.
What a movie!
We should.
I'm drunk
Do you
now.
want to power rank with Tears Denzel movies?
Yes, I do. I watched a little bit of Training Day last night because I got too annoyed with the
You wanna
NBA.
do- Joey, would you be upset if you're not part of this?
No, I won't be upset.
Okay.
All right, yeah, you probably haven't seen very many Denzel.
I don't
movies.
watch a lot of movies.
No, you don't.
Okay. So let's do this for next week. Denzel movies is our power ranking.
Maybe we'll do like a music topic the week after that.
Yeah, I like that.
or something like that. All right, Denzel movies. We'll write
I'll
it
throw out the
down
rundown.
because we'll forget within the next 30 seconds. Those are the headlines. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate it. When we come back, it's time for I Have an Opinion. Send in your opinions, 402-951-1620, or on Twitter at HappenSchafe. However you'd like to get in touch with the show, we will read those opinions and determine if they're satisfactory. After this on 1620 The Zone. All right. It is Thursday, 8:00. We've settled in the traditional time of I have an opinion, which means you send in your opinions, and that's basically
And
it.
there's special incentives again.
And there is an incentive. Joey, tell them your favorite Zach Bryan song.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I did.
Joey
I-
loves all of them.
I
Just
love
saying.
all of them.
You do? You love Zach Bryan?
It's like picking his
I'm a
favorite
huge
Celtic.
fan. It's too hard to choose one because I love them all.
And he's definitely heard many of them.
All right. So
Indeed,
have you
I
heard of Something in the Orange?
Yes, I did.
I don't believe you for some reason. There's something that's not quite clicking. I don't think.
All right, Connor.
That's okay. That's all right. You could win Zach Bryan tickets. And if you just submit an opinion, it's that easy.
It's easy, okay?
So 402-951-1620. Where should we go first? Which method of communication should we explore first? We have texts, we have emails, we have YouTube comments, we have tweets.
We could start with the YouTube, and we can start with because Sal had the first I have an opinion I saw this.
That
morning.
is
That is
right.
true.
And I took a screenshot, and I'm glad you said
I
that.
took a picture just in case.
Here is Sal. I have an opinion. The inside door handle of cars should always double as a place to hold things. If it's just a handle, it's a waste.
So I guess I need a little more explanation because the side of the car door has like the little pocket where I can place stuff in. But he's saying he doesn't want the full handle to have like an opening. He wants to be able to place something in that centerpiece. Is that the how you
Is he
understand
referring to the one up? The handle?
I think he is that little tiny gap like above the handle, like in the car door.
Oh, no, I'm talking about a different thing. I think that's what Schaefer was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is he talking about the handle up like you would feel on a bus?
Yeah. I wasn't considering that, but maybe he is.
The handle, the
But
inside
you
door
can't place
handle.
things there unless he's talking about like passenger door. I'm thinking, I guess, driver's side. I think I need more information on this opinion.
A place to hold things. This seems like a very specific to your car.
Usually,
Sal says
Now, if he's talking about the handles, I do now have a vehicle that does not have a full handle, so I can't hang anything from it the way that I would in the past.
Sal says some are just a handle and some have a pocket. The one right next to you about hip level.
Okay.
He's talking about
the centerpiece of
he's not talking about the one you open the door with.
Oh.
He's talking about the little ledge rest on the door.
Okay. Yes.
yeah, that's kind of what I was.
I
talking
agree
about.
with this. I agree with this
Yeah, it's
opinion.
nice to have an extra place to put stuff.
I agree with this opinion.
You can have,
Sometimes you could put the stuff in there and it just floats right through there.
Mhm.
You don't want that. Now on the other side, that is a place that is a common trash storing location.
Yeah,
And you
Which-
need to take that out when you leave your car.
Correct.
Rather than let it sit in there.
I have an opinion. My passengers in my car, which is really only one person, leaves trash in there all the time.
I share that opinion. As I'm imagining it's a similar situation for both of
I
us.
would imagine so as well.
The pocket. So the car door pocket.
Yeah, people are tweeting us
is
pictures
very,
now.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Stibbs, thank you.
I will go check, and there's just like candy wrappers,
straw
or,
wrappers. It's the straw wrappers and like
hair scrunchies,
yeah.
or random things of the sort.
I just don't understand how
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
you got it, Joey. I'm sorry. I have an
Thank you,
opinion.
Stibbs.
How do people have so many things? Like, just have less things, you know?
Connor Happer, minimalist.
I really am. I start my morning off with a good dose of frustration every single morning when I make the 15-step walk from my car to that door
I've heard about this
because I have to carry
I've witnessed
this cup and a coffee cup, and then I have to have my keys out to lock my car, and I have to have my wallet out to get the door open because it's a beeper, and it is one of the hardest things I have to do. I don't have a very hard life. That is one of the hardest things I have to do.
I have an opinion. I don't have a very hard life.
It's so frustrating. I hate having stuff in my hands.
Now, some of this is self-inflicted because of the two different cups and their large cups.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's that crazy to want to drink water and coffee.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's crazy.
The cumbersome nature of these water bottles has taken.
See, this is where, if you have a little loop, I can spread it out across my hand.
I started shoving one of them in my backpack pocket. And
which is dangerous if it spills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's even worse than having my hands occupied.
Yes.
So thank you for the opinion, Sal. We appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to the text line. Gus Mohawk. I have an opinion. Every stadium should have a 21 plus section, or a degenerate section, as I like to call it, where you could smoke cigars and have a nice scotch. It would be wonderful, and I would be willing to pay extra. I believe they do this where the Clippers play. Hopefully it's going to become a common trend. LOL, GBR.
Into it has a section
a cigars and scotch section.
This feels like the McMaster zone. You can have his bourbon and his cigars while watching the game.
I think we're
that'd be something at a Celtics
in
game.
a section. Like, it's got to be a enclosed. I mean, you can't smoke inside buildings.
I mean, in some
back
places,
in the olden days, that used to be a thing.
Casinos,
yes, or just bars in Oklahoma.
Sure, yeah. There's places that don't care about the rules, but not in Los Angeles's brand new palace of a.
Apparently, you can't. I guess they must have some sort of like. Oh, would you have like a humidor or something in there that would allow for you to be if you could smoke cigars inside the arena?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Curious what that looks like. I do not desire what Ghost Mohawk desires. I don't need a scotch and cigar section personally. I have the outdoors for that / the golf course.
Have you developed a taste for scotch in your 30s at this point?
I don't ever want it, but if it's given to me,
if it's offered to me, I can sip on a scotch.
Yeah.
I don't know that I will ever be the person that's like, that is my go-to
but
drink.
I don't like drinking, really.
Okay.
I discovered that about myself a long time ago.
Connor's out on drinking.
It's like I don't. People talk about how they go home and like they crack a beer or they like pour themselves a drink. I was like, I just don't. I don't ever feel the desire to do that.
Yeah, well, so I think that's two different things. Like, I don't really drink at home, but I very much like a social, I'm out with people drinker.
Me too.
That is 100%.
I mean,
but like, I go home, a beer just sits in my fridge and I don't drink it very often.
Same.
It's just not like a thing for me. But if you ask me to go to the bar, I will have several beers while at the bar and not even think anything of it. It's like autopilot.
It's usually a thing to leave a beer at home and just leave it for a special occasion. Like, I like to leave my beers just for the end of the week, just to celebrate you getting through the week.
See, I don't even do that.
Yeah.
Joey, I see you drinking.
I'm having a
Sam
special
Adams
occasion
or whatever.
drink. It's like wine or a Moscow Mule, basically. Like, those are the things I drink at home.
It's a celebration. Here's Corey from the text line. I have an opinion. Colored headlights and smoked license plate covers should be outlawed. Corey, get off my lawn, and I agree.
You say that again, I missed it.
He does not want colored headlights or smoked license plate covers.
I highly support.
This is a decorum thing for me.
Yeah.
Colored headlights.
Colored headlights.
What
suck.
are we doing?
I am out.
Eric, gentlemen, I have an opinion. Being a diehard Husker fan ever since '84, I don't care if Nebraska hosts a regional, but it'd be very nice to save a little cash since we've been traveling a lot lately for Nebraska sporting events.
It is nice to save a little cash. I can understand and appreciate.
Hopefully you have season tickets, because that would be a tough ticket to get.
However, I hope that you are excited to go to Hattiesburg, where Nebraska will be the 2.
And by the way, Regional 2s win regionals all the time.
Yep.
It happens.
It's happened even in Lincoln.
Sometimes 3s win, sometimes 4s win. All of those things have happened before.
They have.
A 4 has won the College World Series. So it's not the end of the
Fresno
world.
State, right?
Yeah, that was Fresno.
That's the one that I can think of. Is there another one?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, look at that.
Text from the 402. Nick from Liquid Trucking. Thank you,
Hey!
Liquid Trucking. I have an opinion. Jake Debo is a Husker basketball fan deep down inside and probably has a Hoiberg tattoo. Is that Debo from the sorry?
I think it is
Debo from the YouTube,
because he's
I don't-
occasionally made Liquid Trucking comments before.
Interesting. Interesting. I cannot confirm or deny that.
Yeah, I
I'm
can't
at
either.
Debo.
Same.
Okay. Pedro. Hi guys. Talking about a Monopoly Man section. They should have to wear a monocle in the cigars in Scotch section.
Have you ever seen someone actually wear a monocle?
No, for like practical purposes, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
I just want, like, one time out in the wild, I see someone wearing a monocle and it's not part of a costume or a joke. I want to experience this because it once was a thing in society.
I don't think it exists outside of a bit anymore,
Well,
like Halloween.
Occasionally
costumes.
you'll come across someone who has like a pocket watch and they'll pull out their pocket watch and check the time and like, okay, that makes me feel like I'm in a different era. I've seen that a few different times.
Mhm.
You'll see someone with a really nice cane and it's not just like they're hobbling to get around because they're old, but they just have this like nice cane.
Yeah, but you could tell when it's functionally being
Sure.
used.
Yes, absolutely.
If I ever saw a guy with a monocle, I'm like, you don't need that monocle.
You never know. What
That's-
if he needed the monocle?
In what situation do you need a monocle instead of glasses?
There was apparently a situation in time in life where a monocle was needed because one eye needed it more than the other.
Yeah, but they have glasses for that now.
Maybe he doesn't want both eyes covered.
Interesting. Get an eye patch. All right, here.
It's not the same thing.
No, it's not at all. All right, a few opinions from Twitter here. Here's Sam. I have an opinion. When Happer decides to write Con Air 2, I think he should strongly consider a crossover with the Rush Hour franchise. What do you think about that?
I kind of like
I'd
it.
be willing to accept. Let's see. Mark, I have an opinion. Dan Patrick commercials are very exhausting. Is there another person that exists that could be a spokesperson? Also, his dude's wipe spot is a little bit too detailed.
I share this opinion.
No, there's many spokespeople, but sometimes you have like some spots that you need to
It's very descriptive.
throw over the air because Dan Patrick like used to be on the air around these parts and now he's not anymore. So you got to kind of like, make up for it. So there's some Dan Patrick stuff going on. It'll probably run out soon.
At some point, right?
Yeah, at some point it'll run out.
Unlike the dude wipes.
Alan says sipping on a good tequila, Lord have mercy. That's not even an opinion.
Yeah, well, sort
Have
of.
you ever sipped on just tequila?
Not a tequila person. That is the gag reflex for me. It's
I
really
like
high.
tequila, but I don't
I can
think
do a
I've ever had.
margarita.
I don't
Like,
think I've
that's-
ever had tequila just by itself, like on the rocks.
People tell me that I've never had good tequila, which is why I'm not a tequila person, which is probably true because it seems like it'd be a waste to give me good tequila.
Maybe.
So, but it was by far the alcohol that I struggled the most with in my life.
You like gin?
And I'm not a huge fan, but I can drink it. It's too dry.
It's purposefully. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
Here is El Sicko. I have an opinion. The Monopoly Man did wear a monocle. It's a conspiracy, or maybe he's trying to say didn't wear a monocle.
I think he means didn't and got auto-corrected, probably.
The Monopoly Man didn't wear a monocle. Is this true?
Well, he definitely has a monocle on in some of the photos.
Oh, maybe he was just doing it for appearances. Maybe he was just doing it for pictures. It's possible. Here is Al in Minneapolis. I have an opinion / I stared at the schedule. Remember when we stared at the
We
schedule
did
yesterday?
stare at the
Did indeed.
schedule.
Connor and Mike, I don't think Washington is very good. I think Nebraska will beat them in 2026. Washington's best win in 2025 was what? Illinois? Don't get me wrong. Decent win, but not all that impressive either. Moreover, Washington is 1-6 in the Central / Eastern time zone since joining the Big Ten with a negative 86 point differential. Bad vibes offseason with their quarterback and other potential or other portal departures. Regards, Al in Minneapolis.
Yeah, this is this is definitely a thing where
Al's opinion is Washington sucks.
Washington went and lost to Wisconsin last year and struggles when they move out of their time zone. I've seen people talk about this, that they're
Definitely bad vibes.
they're certainly the sort of you might want to fade them when it comes to the over under on wins and things of that nature.
Okay.
I think Jed Fish is a good coach.
I'm interested. I haven't really thought much about Washington yet.
I think that's a huge game. Like if you ask me like what game interests you the most on the schedule, that one, because of placement and what it might mean if Nebraska is able to win it. Like it's not one of the big 3 games, and it's not Iowa, your rival, but I think people around here would look at a Nebraska win against Washington at home and be like, all right.
It's definitely not the most.
That's a quality win in the Matt Rule era.
It's not the most important game, though, because it's not the first game.
No, certainly not.
Well, the first game is the most important game on the schedule. Everyone knows that.
That's what we hear.
I have an opinion from Dave on YouTube. Creighton versus Nebraska should always be a color versus color uniform matchup, regardless of the sport. Yeah, I've seen this a lot, and I really, really want to go contrarian on it, but I can't. I agree.
It looks good.
It looks great.
It looked great on
Very appealing
Tuesday.
on TV.
It looked great. I think it was John sent out the tweet of the colors of the uniforms early before the game had started.
Tremendous.
I liked it.
I kind of thought Creighton was going to wear their powder blues the other night, which would have been fun. But yeah, they went with red.
Who makes that decision for Creighton?
I'm not sure
what uniforms are going to wear at any given time.
I'm not sure.
It's an important decision.
Sometimes they leave it up to starting pitchers, but I don't know how Creighton specifically does it.
Yeah,
I should ask.
I got a text of someone whose son owns a monocle. I don't know that he wears it for a specific purpose, but he did buy one.
Okay,
it's just
it goes along with
comical monocle.
Band name.
Comical monocle.
Comical monocle.
We do have tickets to give away. Has there been an opinion that you want to that you so far?
Not particularly, but we have a long way to go.
Okay.
We got plenty.
We have many opinions left to share.
Excellent. I like that.
Let's see. I have an opinion from Sith Destroyer. Luke Fickell will end his time at Wisconsin with more ranked wins than Matt Rule will when his time ends at Nebraska. Fickell has
2.
I can think of 1.
Did he get 1 in his first year?
Actually when was Washington? They beat Washington, right?
Washington
I think they were 25.
Okay, so that
did they beat Illinois too?
They beat Illinois, who was ranked.
Okay,
they have 2. I'm pretty sure.
I could look at their schedule.
He's a long way ahead already. Matt Rule famously has none. I think this is probably true. He's got a 2-game lead already.
Yeah, I'll take Rule on that because I think he'll be here for a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Washington was 23 and Illinois was 21 when they won those 2 games.
I understand that I am fighting an uphill battle.
Do you understand that Matt Rule has 0 right
I
now?
do understand that the numbers are definitely not in his favor.
Old man Doug writes in, I have an opinion. Creighton is doing far better in the portal than expected.
I would push back on
I
that.
expected him to do pretty well.
They're getting the type of players and the quality of players that I would have expected. I think the thing that I'm somewhat surprised by is that they kept pretty much all their younger players in Greer and McAndrew and Schwartz. I would have thought they would have lost one of those 3 for sure.
They did not lose any of them. Also, a second opinion from Doug about Creighton. Creighton will be back in the NCAA tournament under Huss next season, and double opinion, will beat the Huskers in Omaha.
Okay.
Would you like to set an early line for Creighton, Nebraska basketball next year?
Like the gambling line?
Yes.
Not particularly.
Hold on.
I'd like to
so
see
Nebraska doesn't
can
have a
fill out
roster
its
yet.
roster.
Yeah, Nebraska doesn't have a roster yet. Creighton kind of like almost has a roster.
I don't think they have many spots left, do they?
I
Whenever we get to this BJ conversation, I'd like to know how many spots they have left.
Not very many.
Yeah.
So Creighton like basically has a roster.
Yeah.
This game will be December 5th, right?
December 5th.
Offhand, I wanted to say 3.5 points.
For who?
Nebraska.
Okay.
I got 2.5 Creighton.
Pick them.
Okay, we're right in the
It's going to be a coin toss game.
Won't be. It won't.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the line to be high either way. It's early enough in the season that I don't know that either team would be just straight rolling at this point.
No.
Creighton will be coming off of their performance in the very big tournament in which people get limited payouts.
for some, yeah.
And
they will have already played Gonzaga too, a
Sure.
non-conference game at home.
Nebraska's schedule is
And
yet
Vegas.
to have been set. They'll have played Providence at this point. They'll have likely played up in Sioux Falls. And then they're supposed to have more of a marquee matchup, potentially. That's the rumor. So
You'll probably get a scouting report on that Providence guy that moved over to Creighton as well for the Huskers.
what do you mean?
What?
Creighton got that Providence transfer.
Oswin?
Yeah. Nebraska's playing Providence, so Nebraska could probably get a little scouting report on the player.
Well, yeah, I guess in the sense,
Just
but it would be an
jokingly.
entirely different Providence team. So nobody
That
would
is
have
true.
coached the guy or thought about him. You're probably not watching a lot of Providence film. Do basketball coaches watch much film of the previous year's team? I can't imagine they do.
I mean, it changes so much, but there's concepts that carry over. Anyway, here's Ryan in Delaware. I have an opinion. There is no need for coupes or sedans. SUVs, trucks, or vans are all we need for vehicles. Anything else is a waste of money.
Whoa. How do you feel about this? Because you drove a sedan for a while.
Sedans are just
Cars.
Yeah, like
basically just.
What do you mean? There's no need for cars. There's no need for regular
He's saying
cars.
that everything needs to be bigger.
That's dumb. No, I disagree.
I don't share the opinion, but it's funny.
Cars are great.
It's funny to imagine no more cars. Everything's just a truck, an SUV, a van.
That'd be wild. That'd be wildly terrible for the environment.
The gas mileage for all vehicles would be bad.
Bill, I have an opinion. The last few opinions have been spot on. Good tequila sipping and Dan Patrick ads focused on dude wipes. He also does Cologuard. What's going on here? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Dan Patrick ads. Pedro, hi guys. I have an opinion. There was a time when the PP pad guy was the most feared secondary defender in the NFL. No one would throw to his side of the field, and now no one wants to sit on his side of the couch. I don't even know who he's referring to.
I mean,
who did ads for PP pads?
Is this like a Ronnie Lott thing?
I'm not sure. You have to follow up.
I need more
Pedro.
info here.
Wes, I have an opinion. Whoever's doing draft picks for the Minnesota Vikings next week do way better than Kwesi ever did. Skull.
I share this opinion. Skull.
Ryan in Delaware, who had the no sedans opinion, says you're dumb. which is
Did he
fair.
phrase it as I have an opinion?
No, he said you're dumb. Because I think I said that's dumb.
Yeah.
No sedans. Where does that even come from?
He just doesn't want to see cars anymore.
Alan, I have an opinion. Nebraska needs to change his Tunnel Walk song to Blind by Korn.
Okay.
You think if Nebraska changed their Tunnel Walk song
on the Tunnel Walk song?
I did not.
Of the many things I don't
Dion
have.
is the P-pad guy.
Deion Sanders is a P-pad
He
guy?
did P-pad ads? I don't
remember this.
I have no strong opinions on the song in which Nebraska walks out of the tunnel too.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have a lot of like pre-game Nebraska football opinions, if that makes sense. I have a lot more.
It makes a lot of sense.
In-game Nebraska football opinions, but
Yes.
before the game, I can't say that I think about it a whole lot.
Okay. That's I have an opinion. Joey, you have many options.
Yes, I do.
Many, many options. We'll be back with BC after this on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
Another day in the transfer portal, covering the transfer portal, people in, people out for Nebraska basketball, and covering Nebraska football. Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7 joins us down the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. BC, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. What's going on in the portal today?
I don't know. Hopefully something. Need something to pop.
Yeah, it kind of hasn't been. It's been. I mean, it hasn't been quiet because they've entertained people on visits, but
Right.
they haven't gotten many results yet.
No. I mean, I think there's some that are on the hook, and it feels like could be close, and then maybe today is where we get at least one of those. But it's the understandable point of sort of anxiousness with some excitement probably for Husker fans. And I mean, the one thing that's certain is people are more dialed into it than I've seen around here. I mean, there's definitely a lot of refreshing on computers and of following of it that I don't recall being this intense in the last couple of years. And obviously that's a connection to making the run they did in March Madness. So that part is cool, but yeah, it'd be that nice step to get a guy or two to raise their hand now.
Among the targets that Nebraska is involved with or has hosted so far, who has kind of piqued your interest in terms of when you've looked at either the stat line or if you've thrown some film on or whatever, or just thinking about how it fits with the current pieces? Who kind of stands out amongst the guys that Nebraska has really sort of locked in on?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he does. I know he I think made the trip to Arizona State the other day, but I've always thought since like early last week, when his name started to surface, that Trevin Leonard would be a really good fit because of his length, and I liked his numbers defensively. So I remain intrigued where that one goes. But the kid they had from Illinois State in the other day, Tyreek Coleman, I think is a really interesting young player. Has only played 1 year of college basketball, and if you look at his stat lines, he had some really exciting flash games where he'd score like 17 against Auburn. I think early in the season last year, he had like 16, like in like 3 of the first 5 games or something like that, including against USC. So he's definitely got, I think, a high ceiling to him where you could develop something with him. He also had those games where, there wasn't much on his stat sheet, and he's a growing player. But he interests me, and I always like those guys. And I know you've asked this question before when I've been on. It's such a big deal, too, when you can get a few of them that have at least 2 years to play still. And then ideally, they're coming back the next season after that, and you're not just starting from scratch again. So, those are guys that are interesting. I know everybody's sort of been on the Drew Fielder watch, and I don't know where that one's going to go at this point. But obviously, Kapke, there's definitely some buzz around him from Boston College, and I think that one's a possibility.
All right, BC, I asked this question earlier. It's a bigger picture Nebraska football related question. How much, if any, hope or optimism has been gained or lost, I suppose, from as it pertains to Nebraska football in the transfer portal NIL era? Like, the common sentiment is, hey, it's sort of a resetting of the deck, and there's a lot of things that are different with college football now. And how much have you thought about that with Nebraska in particular, and how much that has mattered, not mattered, will matter to them going forward, and how much it's affected their current play at the moment? Does that make sense? I probably didn't explain it very well, but how much have you thought about them in the grand scheme of things?
I don't. If I following with you, I don't know that the portal this past cycle, or even in the last few cycles, I wouldn't say it's just like created an incredible amount of buzz, if that's part of the question, because like I think they've got guys that people have been excited about, but I don't think it's been like people doing cartwheels,
Right.
like last week where I'm downtown. That was a true story, by the way. There was a guy yelling. But there's not stuff like that, like reacting to what they've done in the portal. But I do think this current class that they just got, when you look at like Anthony Jones, when you look at Owen Chambliss, Dwayne McDougal, all guys at 3 different levels on your defense. I mean, they're going to be massive, and they've had some hits in there that have been quietly good too. Like Jameer Khan last year, he was just a special teams guy, and so he's not like, kind of to my first point, he's not someone like everybody's just fired up about initially when he signed, but he could be a really good player, and I think he kind of reminds me a little of Omar Brown, and maybe what he can get done on that back end of the defense. So I think they have some guys like that who they're not causing like a major ruckus like in these months like leading up to the season where we're just like, oh my goodness, what about this guy or that guy? But they feel like they fit, and I think there is a good possibility that they can bat a high clip with the guys they got in this last cycle. But they got to go prove it, and obviously the biggest one of all is Calandria. And when you think about what's it going to take to give Nebraska football a jolt, and let's go to the most important position in sports. Like they need something, and it's a lot of pressure that comes with it, but that's what goes with being QB. They need something kind of special, I think, out of that spot that hasn't been there, and it's kind of been missing. And if you're going to go knock off some of these teams that were CFP teams or beat one of them this year, you're going to need your quarterback spot, I think, to do a little something extra. And that's why I think people have cautious optimism about Calandria. They've seen like, he could be a pretty entertaining watch, and he can get, he obviously had some really good numbers at UNLV last year. But now can he take that next step while protecting the ball at a decent clip? So I don't know if that answered the question, but I do think there's some guys that maybe people aren't talking as much about, like an Anthony Jones, who is going to be very important to helping, sort of set the bar and help this team to move to the next level. Jasir Whittington as well.
You got the opportunity to go through spring practice and talk to the coaches, talk to the players. You watch the spring game. There's a little bit of open practice. Now that you have a little more information than from when he was first hired, in what ways do you think Nebraska's defense looks different, like off the bat, against Ohio than what you saw in the last couple of years from the Huskers? Not necessarily the end results, but like what things do you expect to look different or to play out differently with Nebraska's defense under Rob Orich than kind of where they've been in recent years?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that it's been talked about how he's a good communicator, and I think that's the biggest thing. If like during these months leading up to the season, if he can get sort of his message across is this is who we're going to be pre-snap, where guys aren't overthinking it, and then they're playing fast. I felt like last year there were some obvious deficiencies we knew about, like especially on the D-line going into that season, but I also thought there were guys sometimes overthinking it out there. And, sometimes you outthink yourself. And once the ball's snapped, you got to have guys that just go. And when you listen to a couple of the guys who have played for him, like Chambliss and McDougal, I think what he's done well at his previous stops is he gets guys to have a good understanding in these months, like spring and summer, of like, this is sort of the template for what we're doing. And then if they have to simplify, they do. And then it's more attack mode where guys, just press down on the pedal. And so that's what I'm hoping for. Hoping that helps with the pass rush a little bit. I still have question marks like everybody else does about the D line, and Corey Brown and Roy Manning, I think, have a very tough assignment. That said, I'm hopeful that Orich and those guys at least put, I think, some of those players in a better position to succeed than maybe I think they were a year ago. So we'll see if that can benefit, a guy, like a Cade Petchock. Like if you can find like how to best emphasize his game, Jasir Whittington, Van Poppel, those type of players, just by having them in the right spots and asking the specific things of them that equate to their games, I think could really help things.
Okay, BC, one more for you, off the wall, random player question. Have you thought? Have you rethought the ceiling for Ja'Cory Barney after his first 2 years at Nebraska?
No. I think, I don't know. Last year was really tough for those receivers because there was that start like midway through the season, especially the last 3 games, where it just kind of fell off a cliff. And if you look at Ja'Cory's numbers, I mean, remember the Michigan game, of course, he catches the Hail Mary, but he had like 200+ games in the first 4 or 5 Saturdays out there. And then there was like a 5-game period where, I mean, the stats were meager. It was like 75 receiving yards total or something like that. But I don't think it had all to do with Ja'Cory. Certainly a lot of the surrounding parts and just like they just weren't finding him. And I think there were opportunities to find him. And then there were just missed plays that were there. Like, the play against USC where Latif like fumbled the ball, on that one snap, like near the red zone. It was explained after the game. And if you go back and watch it, that was like a walk-in touchdown if he catches that snap for Ja'Cory. And that's 20 yards to your stat sheet. Yes, but it's also like a huge touchdown that maybe tilts a game and it tilts the whole conversation about a certain player, right? And so it's like things like that sort of have to start, just kind of break a guy's way. I do sense he's one of the guys who has a really tight connection early on with Calandria. And so that's worth watching. And I think he's really taken to Quasi Gilmer too, from everything they've said and what I've heard as well. Quasi's been good for that room because Quasi, I think, is very much a detailed, one of those kind of receivers who studies like the mechanics of it since he's like been in 10th grade, and so I think that that comes off to other guys and they kind of follow along with that. So I think him, that is Barney, Gilmer, and Hunter probably are going to really help each other. I think Gilmer especially was a really good addition, kind of back to your first portal question.
All right, BC. Great stuff as always. Appreciate it. We'll let you go, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. 2 years, 100 catches, 931 yards for Ja'Cory Barney.
Yep.
And BC's right. I mean, at times he's really dynamic. At times he disappears. And now the other point is very true. He's got 2 guys around him that I think are pretty good. This time around, not that he didn't necessarily last year, but
yeah, it's hard to just load him up. At the same time, the best game that Dana Holgerson has had in the big chair has also been Ja'Cory Barney's probably best game with Nebraska. That's Wisconsin 2024. I think that goes in lockstep. I think getting playmakers the ball like that and letting them go to work makes your offense that much better.
So he had a 4-game stretch last year where he had 11 catches for 39 yards.
Yeah.
4 games: Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, and UCLA.
And only one of those is a game where he didn't have Dylan Raiola for some of it.
Right.
You can't even be like, oh, it's TJ Latif.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's talk about what Creighton picked up yesterday. And are they close to done? And what does this roster look like after this on 1620 The Zone? Yesterday, the Blue Jays got a commitment from a BJ.
Is this the BJ segment?
This is the BJ segment.
The
Welcome.
Blue Jay segment.
Yes.
I forget who it was in the StreamYard that really wanted this.
It was, I think, Debo.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Blue Jays segment, Debo. BJ Davis, who's a junior at San Diego State last year, operated for the most part as their lead guard. He was a 37% sort of low volume, low error volume, I suppose, 3-point shooter last year. But started 7 games for the Aztecs a year ago and showed some really good flashes. He was, of course, playing with Magoon, who is now part of the Hall, which if you speak Big East language, that makes sense to you, but probably I'm trying to teach Schaefer Big East language.
It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I understand DeHall just being a playoff of DePaul.
You got it.
Magoon
Guas,
means nothing to me.
He played for San Diego State last year, and now he plays for DeHall. So the thing, and I was trying to go through just like all the additions. So now you have Wes Enos, you have he is the 2 guard from South Florida. You have Oswin, Aramrunse, you have from Providence. He's going to be probably your starting center next year. You got Mr. Rosa, who's probably going to be your backup big. And then you now have BJ Davis. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I am.
That they added?
Yeah, additions at this point. So that's 4.
I
believe that's right.
Sounds right.
On top of Jason Green, Austin Swartz. You lost Blake Harper, Josh Dix, Nick Graves, Fedora Zugic, Ty Davis, but you get back Hudson Greer, Shane Thomas, Jackson McAndrew, and then and Isaac Trout, and then lost the rest of your roster from last year, which consists of people like Liam McChesney, Karam, Conan, Alexa Dmitrievich,
have any of them
Owen
surfaced
Freeman,
anywhere?
and Josh Townley Thomas. Not to my knowledge, no.
Yeah,
Except for Ty.
Where's he going?
Samford, which is where he's from. He's from Alabama.
All right.
And Harper at VCU.
Okay, I wondered on Blake Harper.
Yeah, Harper's at VCU. And that is the picture. So when Husk came on our show a couple weeks ago, when he had his opening press conference, one of the things that he mentioned is, hey, we're still going to be us. We're still going to do our thing, but we're going to probably get a little bit more disruptive on defense. This has they have added players that would lead you to believe that that is going to be the case. They got some really interesting athletes. I am fascinated. It is a departure, not out of spite or anything. Like it is a departure for how Creighton has sort of built the last few teams. I think they made a really smooth transition from like they were really heavy on the skilled 3-point shooting, kind of softer type of teams. And then just gradually it culminated, I think, in what they were with the Elite 8 team, basically.
Mm-hmm.
With
I checked. BJ Davis wasn't on the team that got fouled, but it wasn't a foul, but was definitely a foul.
He was not.
He was not.
Yeah.
So he would have been a commit.
They did play him. They did play him 2 years ago at the Players Era, though, and got killed. They kind of culminated in that team that went to the Elite 8 with their sort of rugged toughness and then skill and shot making and all those different things. Like they kind of had all of it, and then took a little bit of a return back to the heavier skill, softer side over the last couple of years, even though they had Kalkbrenner, which obviously helped out a ton. So you're trying to just dive straight into like, we're going to have better athletes. We're going to get disruptive on the defensive side. We're going to get a few more turnovers, and you probably are going to be a little bit less skilled on the offensive side. But it seems like a well-rounded team that they've put together here. So
yeah, well, they went out and they got what feels like a couple ball handlers. I mean, I know Enos is not like a true like facilitating point guard or
not
anything, more of a combo guard, but in Davis, you at least have a bit of a facilitator, and then The two bigs kind of fascinate me because obviously what Creighton didn't have this year was sort of that rim protecting big inside. And those games where things weren't going well, teams were just eating them alive inside. Like whether it was a Georgetown game where I will never forget sitting here and being informed that Georgetown scored on like 18 straight possessions.
One of those ridiculous
or
things.
whatever it was. And a lot of that is you just don't have a way to turn. You couldn't
Stop
turn them
inside.
away. Well, now you've got two big men in there that are shot blockers and deterrents.
So they're going to, I mean, in theory, they're going to be able to kind of compete here athletically with the teams that they're going to see in the Big East, which is fascinating and different. They've had to sort of make their way.
It feels like a stylistic departure for sure.
Yeah. And so that's what it looks like to me. And we'll see if there's some more, potential additions that are coming through. But that's the update on Creighton. I know you guys have a couple thoughts on it, but we do have to take a break. We'll come back and get to those. We'll finish up our thoughts when we return. Happer and Schaefer rolls on. 9 o'clock hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. 9 o'clock hour of Happer and Schaefer here. 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. Schaefer, you got a 9 blasted.
I got 9 blasted, and it's just sad.
9 blasted by Joey, who's about to, be gone for a while.
And he's not even going to be the starting quarterback.
He's just gonna.
No, I'm sad.
He's gonna 9 blast you on his way out.
They're canceling 9.
Not canceled enough. Now, next week, if he gets traded for like a 5th round pick, that would be reason to celebrate.
5th round pick would be pretty
It's too
good.
bad there's no.
Oh yeah, that means just. But what else are you going to get for?
Nothing.
Like no one's
Probably a
gonna give
9th
you
round
anything
pick.
Good. Yeah.
If
They don't have a 9th round.
I
Joey.
know.
All right, a couple comments from you all. First, this is directed at you, Schaefer, from the 402. Mike, are you ready to jump on the bus yet or what? This team is naughty. You're going to look so good in that Jason Green jersey. May I say sexy?
Oh, this is a graphic idea.
I
I'm
will
gonna
not
work.
be wearing a Jason Green jersey.
I don't know if I would describe the Creighton basketball team as naughty.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like more information as to why it's that. We were going through it during the break.
Yes,
as to how things sort of break down.
I was
with it.
gaming out the depth chart.
And it certainly sounds good on paper, though it did a year ago too.
You know what's funny? I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. You could make an argument for a couple different guys as far as like where they're at on the depth chart. I think you get BJ Davis with the assumption that he's your starting point guard next year. And then backed up by Cottrell Harmon, who is a freshman coming in. I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, these are different, like they're similar types of players in their outputs, but they get it in different ways, and they're different sort of styles in Enos and Swartz. But those are both 2 guards. You have Jason Green and Hudson Greer, and Jason is obviously a stalwart, and he can sort of do whatever for you. And Hudson is, I expect to make a big jump going into his sophomore year. Given
Weird season for him.
Yeah, a super odd season. And so when he got the opportunity, he showed that he's got it. And then Jackson McAndrew is definitely starting 4, and Isaac Trout is, a bench 3-point guy, I think. And you have Oswin at the 5. You have Rosa, but I don't know what I could expect from a guy like that. So to back
Maybe
him,
he can be your Moses Abraham.
to back him up. Whoa, nice, good pull.
Yeah.
To back Oswin up, who needs a backup because he does tend to get in foul trouble. I think you probably just go with the combination of Jason and Isaac.
Yeah, so you would go like Trout and Green and potentially even McAndrew on the floor all at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be like your tiny little death lineup. Yeah.
But you have the ability to shoot, so you're spacing people that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, we know Jason Green has plenty of experience being asked to play the drop 5.
He most certainly does. Unfortunately.
Don't make me do it.
People forget that Jason was not particularly healthy throughout the year as well. His shoulder was hanging on by a thread during the middle of the season, and he held up. So I wish that you could get to the point where you could just say, all right, Jason, you're the wing, like go, and you're going to be out there for 30 minutes and we're going to depend on you and lean on you and all those things. I think it's a little bit closer to Swiss Army man, like little bit of, obviously I think he is the starting kind of wing next year. And then I think you do, because of his versatility and how much he's played other spots, you do want to save minutes for him to play other spots. Like I wish, I remember asking Mac this at the beginning of last year, like what do you want to see Jason do? And there just couldn't have been an answer because they didn't have an option.
Yeah, he had to play everything.
Except for to have him do everything.
Right.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I wonder what Jason would say. Like, what do you sort of want to do? I'm sure he would say whatever helps the team and things like that. But when you game it out that way, it looks okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for Creighton.
Yeah, there's obviously there's all those pieces that you can't know because they haven't played together yet, and you don't know where the leadership and all of that comes from. I know it was such a startling you were the one interviewing him. It was in Vegas, and you could just hear it in his voice. McDermott talking about like the vocal leadership and not necessarily having it early last year, and he felt like that was such a missing piece. Like you just won't know on things like that until you're into the season and seeing how it plays out.
Jason
You
was
sort of
so
have this
huge from that
of team.
Jason was so huge from that perspective last year, and he kind of kept, helped kept that group together. And so now you go into his second year of being that person in the locker room is a pretty good thing. I think Jackson's voice has gone up.
Well, I thought Hudson Greer, when he was
Hudson absolutely
for a freshman
shows leadership qualities.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's the guy that I kind of wonder if you don't see when you talk about a jump up on the court and off the court. I mean, if I was picking someone, just blindly picking someone that I think will have a large impact for next year and the arrow is up, it would be Hudson Greer. Like from afar, I've liked everything I've seen from that guy. It was a weird year because it just felt like the playing time was kind of inconsistent. And I don't know what the reason was for that, but I thought it was critical that they were able to keep him. I just think he's a really interesting player.
Hudson Greer. By the way, Creighton just got another commitment.
Well, hey, we were like, hey, how many spots do they have?
They got Mr. Bug.
They did get the bug.
Yeah, they got the bug. They got the itch. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an itch. It can only be scratched by Bug.
That presents some exciting in-game entertainment options.
Caden Bug Edwards has committed to Creighton. So he'll give you another, like it's a combo guard, like he'll give you another sort of like halfway ball handler option where you don't have to exclusively give it to Cottrell Harmon like in his freshman year, which is good. Wasn't a huge part, I don't believe, in what TCU was doing this year. I checked him out last week. Yeah, no, he was just a freshman and played in 14 games this year. Didn't
you? Had a bit of a backup bug then.
He was a backup bug, Swiss Army bug.
Okay,
little, just everything guard.
You were going to compare him to an actual insect. Is there like one that makes?
I don't know. What's a versatile role playing bug?
Role playing bug. All right, let's go back to Bug's Life and see what stands out in my brain from that.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got from Bug's Life?
This is mostly just about ants.
Graphic, Bug's Life. Throw Mr. Bug out there.
Yeah, maybe he's an ant. I have no idea.
Bug played in 14 games last year for the Horned Frogs, who did win that game in the NCAA tournament, right? Yeah, they beat Ohio State.
Yeah,
didn't play in that game.
That was the first game of the day.
That's right. He did get in 1 minute of mop up time against Duke in the NCAA tournament because Duke was winning by 100. And that was about it. So there you go. Caden Edwards in the boat. The Huss bus is getting full. So yeah, as far as the spots are concerned, let me game this out. So I wrote down 10 guys on that initial depth chart.
Now you got Bug, so you're at 11.
Now you have Mr. Bug, but I didn't include Shane.
12.
So that's 12. And
who's the freshman coming in?
Cottrell, but he was already on there.
13.
No, he was already on there. Harmon was already on
there. Oh, is he the backup point guard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Am I forgetting any other walk-on types? No, because they all kind of left. Except for Shane Thomas.
So they have room for walk-on types.
Walk-on types, or
maybe even one more
best available type of guys.
Wow.
Like I don't know. Yeah, you got room. You got room. And I don't know what Huss's preference is on, like, do you want to take all 15? Like, you don't have to. You're under no obligation to do so, so like you could take 14 and go from there. Chance, by the way, writes and he says beetles are very versatile bugs with a large variety of roles.
Okay. Beetle bug.
Mr. Beetle.
Mr. Beetle.
Mr. Beetle is what we're calling it. But at the same time, he was like a pretty highly recruited player at a high school, but just didn't play all that much for TCU last year. Ron writes in, enough Creighton talk. No one cares. There is only one good basketball team in the state. Is that true? Are you willing to stake your reputation to that?
It was true. I don't know that it's necessarily true for the future.
And what about, do you have any comment on no one cares?
I do, because I heard yesterday that there was an ask for more Creighton portal talk.
That's right.
Plus, there was Debo, who was very upset about the lack of BJ Davis talk.
And now look at us.
No, we're now what, like 15 minutes of this in.
That's right. And we got to
actually probably more than that. More
well,
like
okay.
18 minutes.
So Creighton's got all the commitments now. It's 5-0 on commitments. What's going on here?
But 5-0. You forgot about the robot voice.
Oh yeah, Mr. Sam Orm.
Which, I mean,
Sam
yeah.
Orm. Sorry, Mr. Orm.
There's every bit of possibility that Sam Orm was really high on Nebraska's board of like what they wanted to get.
Yeah, no, he was a good athlete.
Now they seem very well positioned for the Bowden Kapke guy. That seems like that could just end up being their center for next year. I asked, and BC mentioned Tyreek Coleman. I would love to, if he ends up going to Utah State, it seems like that's probably over for Nebraska. Trevin Lenhart, I think they had felt good, but he is visiting Arizona State, but they're also hosting other point guards.
Well, if you brought in the Cleveland State guy, the ice guy.
They're doing a Zoom with him.
Yeah. So,
Emory.
Yeah. If you're going down the line, I mean, you're thinking about potential backup options there. So, I mean, it feels like the Fielder thing was a long time ago.
That one seems dead.
Yeah, the ship has maybe sailed on that.
But if you walk away with Sam Orm, if you're able to get Trevin Lenhart, if you can add a Tyreek Coleman, like those are really nice pieces for what already you have sort of around it, plus Sam Orm. So I think it's gone okay for Nebraska. A lot of it is just a sort of sitting and waiting for news to come out.
We will see when the news happens. But yeah, I think they're probably gonna get Bowden Kapke, which it's like, so we talked about Creighton before. We're doing the comparison here. So forgive us, but Creighton feels like they went a little bit more athleticism, gonna try and create a little bit of a defense.
Nebraska's going pure shooting.
Yeah. You thought last year's team was a finesse.
I mean, their dream scenario where it's Lenhart, Fielder, and Orm filling out with Frager and Sanford. Statistically, that was 5 guys shooting over 35% with their respective.
I mean, that is
from 3.
That is a wild. That is.
It's clearly what Fred wants.
Are they going to be able to? Are they going to be able to figure it out on the defensive side? I
think there's just a lot of belief that they can plug in that system and have it work.
Yeah.
And I think the hard part with that is it maybe devalues a little bit just how important Jamarcus Lawrence and Sam Hoiberg were at the top of it, causing some of that havoc.
Yeah, I know.
Those were good defensive. Like Jamarcus doesn't get talked about as much because Hoiberg was better, but Jamarcus was equally valuable being a pest, forcing issues and turnovers.
They're gonna need you're gonna need to find a little bit of an edge somewhere. I don't know.
Well, I think that's where if they get Lenhart, like Lenhart kind of slides in that Sam role where he does a lot statistically for you, and he could be a defensive pest. And they're going to be long. They would be a very long.
Yeah, and they'll be able to scheme their way, I'm sure, to a good defense. I'm just talking about sort of like the toughness, the physicality edge that will not be there. Not that means they won't be good. Not that doesn't mean they will be good, but if, like I said, if you thought last year's team was finesse, watch out for the 2026, 2027 Nebraska.
Depending on how things go, sure.
Yeah, I mean they could be really good, but they're going to be pretty finesse from what it looks like right
if
now.
they get some of these guys. If they don't, then they have to sort of adapt to it as well and look at what else is out there.
Yeah, maybe there's other options to go off of that. Let's take a break. I have a question about Memorial Stadium. Still here on this show. We'll be back. We'll get to some of your comments potentially as well after this on 1620 The Zone. Oh, look at that. There's an Insta poll. Where'd that come from? On the YouTube. The question is bug, and the responses are possibly yes, no, or Jason Green. What does
Jason
that even
Green.
mean? Right now, 100% of the voters selected Jason Green.
But Jason Green isn't a bug.
Well, it's just one of the options. I think it's one of those things where when people see Jason Green, they have to vote.
Okay,
They
I
get a
didn't
little
know that.
excited.
They have to vote.
I didn't know that was like a thing. There's so many of these like Creighton things you just learn.
It really has become a thing. It started with, of course, the putback dunk against Oregon in the round of 32 game 3 years ago when John said, Jason Green!
John and Nick Baugh.
And yeah, at the same time. And it really started there. And then I think Schick and Nick like slowed it down on their podcast. And then people just started shouting Jason Green. And then he obviously ended up being really good at basketball. So right now, still all the votes coming in 100% Jason Green.
Wow.
The voting is up to you. It's up to you. By the way, I feel like I should mention this while we're talking about Creighton here real quick. Creighton, Nebraska volleyball tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's happening at DJ Sokol Arena. I'll be there.
You're going?
Maybe I'll yell, Jason Green.
They
Maybe.
got you in arena entertainment?
Yes.
Are you emceeing this event?
Yes. I have been tasked with in-game interviews
Whoa.
with coaches.
Whoa. Both coaches?
On both sides.
Wow.
It is a celebration of volleyball. So I will basically be, name me a sideline reporter.
You will
Not
be
Diana Rossini.
Jason Green!
You'll be Holly Rowe.
I'll be Holly Rowe. I'll be Holly rowing it up. I'll be Holly rowing the boat.
You'll be Evan Washburn.
I'll be Evan Washburn. Good one. Yeah.
You'll be.
And I don't have the hair to be Evan Washburn.
No, you really
though.
don't. You'll be. When I was a kid, I don't know if this happened to other people. His name is Jackaroot, but I always
Oh,
heard.
yeah.
I
nice.
always heard Jackaroo.
Jackaroot.
And I was like, why do they keep calling this guy Jackaroo? And I didn't realize that it was Jackaroot.
Jackaroo.
Yeah, like it was like this is so weird to me.
Jackaroot was on the ABC broadcast,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
He was. It felt like he did a ton of Nebraska games.
Husker says someone get Happer away so we could actually have Holly Rowe. Well, good thing it's not. Well, I guess it will be on TV. It'll be on the Nebraska public media tomorrow.
Okay.
But I just mean inside of the building. If you happen to be one of the 3,000 people that is inside of the building tomorrow, you'll hear me yelling, playing a variety of different games, and interviewing coaches and doing very hard-hitting interviews.
Your important interview questions?
Not
Are you going to be
all.
serious with it or not serious?
Not serious.
Okay.
We'll probably have time for like, what do you think about this crowd for both coaches? And that's it.
Please use that voice.
I'll just say, what do you want to say? I remember I had, when I did the Cornhusker kickoff this year.
Sure.
EJ Barth, they would give us a coach every week, and EJ Barthel came through, and it was the first time I did it, so I didn't know what it was supposed to be. I kind of was under the impression that it was going to be like a 5-minute, like, hey, give me like a rundown of your running back room, like what's going on. So I was thinking about that, and it wasn't. It was just like a high. So I was
supposed
like,
to get people hyped.
yeah, basically.
Okay.
And so I was like, and he was basically like, I got this. Don't worry. And so I didn't really say anything. I just gave him the microphone. He was like, he did this whole thing of like, go Big Red and whatever. I'm like, this is terrific.
Look at that.
Get me out of the way. We should hire EJ Barthel as the
And then his running back became an All-American.
That is true.
Yeah.
It was in the process of him becoming an All-American, actually.
That's nuts.
It was right before the game. Memorial Stadium. Will something happen to it?
Yes.
I think so.
But when will something happen?
But when will something happen? That is the question. So I mentioned this earlier. Let's talk about this for a few minutes. Do you care about how many seats are in this next version of Memorial Stadium?
Yes.
Oh, you do care.
I do care.
But you care in which way? You care that
I want less seats.
Okay. Because some people have a very strong point of pride that they want
more pride.
They don't want any sissy stadiums. They don't want any B-word stadiums. They want big old stadiums.
Well, that's a B word.
80,000.
It's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole. It's
Yeah.
like a fullback running through the A-hole.
Thank you, Kat. Again. So they want the biggest stadium that they could possibly get because it's a point of pride for Nebraskans. We sell out 90,000 every
Empty
single game.
seats is a point of pride.
Hey, I'm just telling you, I'm just trying to tell you what the thought process is from these people. I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I don't get it either, but it has been a point of pride. The point of pride thing will come back in a couple minutes when we talk about another piece of this conversation. But I personally don't care about how many seats are in there. Make it less and make it comfortable. And I do think to a certain extent, Nebraska has a freedom to be able to actually do some things to the stadium at this very moment in time, given what we have talked about all spring, which is, there's a
malaise.
There's a malaise. There's a pressure to win, but there's not this intense, heavy aired, everyday sort of like humidity surrounding the program. It's just not, it's not there right now. And so I think you could get away with some stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess so. I don't have like a plan. I certainly don't have a 12-step plan to make Memorial Stadium
I'd like
better.
to see you try.
I think in Mike Schaefer's perfect world, I would say a perfect world, but I want to make sure it's my point of view on this. You take down capacity like close to what it was before you expanded. Go back into the 70s, low 70s. You open up some sections of the stadium so you have a little less seating. You allow people a little more space. Part of it is you go and watch a team that's not winning a bunch of football games in a very uncomfortable environment half the time. And then you get the cold weather games where everyone's in their bulky coats and, you have like remotes width of space for where you actually get to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes a thing to me where it's like, okay, make more space for people. That does two things. One, it makes a more of a market for available tickets because you've now reduced the capacity of it. You no longer are in this spot where, some company, some bank, some, sponsor then just has to give out a bunch of tickets to try to fill it up. Which, when it's done in the sense that you're taking a bunch of school kids to their first game and you do it in that sort of way, very cool. When you have to do that for every game, loses some of its meaning a little bit.
Agreed.
So there's that. I've long thought that the stadium needs some sort of structural change.
Well, that's definitely true.
I guess what I'm saying is like create some sort of open standing room area concourse thing. I don't know how you do that. That's kind of South Stadium.
A patio?
Like an observation deck sort of thing is what I'm viewing it as. Now, how you do that, I don't know. Part of it with the stadium is it would be so much easier if the land existed to just attempt to build a new stadium because you're trying to build on top of one that's already existed, that's landlocked, that you have a super computer center in South Stadium that was donated for a lot of money that makes it kind of hard to just do whatever you want there.
It is that is one of the wrenches that has been thrown into this project, obviously, that you were trying to while the plane is flying here, tear down.
Can we talk about how dumb that was, by the way? Like
the computer building?
Yes. Why did you put it inside the football stadium?
It's a great question.
It was unnecessary.
I remember when it happened, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. What does it mean for football? And everyone was
wrote about it for my job.
And everyone said, oh, it doesn't mean it's not attached to sports at all. And I said, why is it in the stadium then?
And that was very expensive computer lab.
When did they do that? 20 years ago now?
2008, like right around there.
That's 20 years ago.
So I was working at the foundation at the time, writing the press release for it. Well, writing a version of the press release that would get heavily edited, changed, and then made better by the communications director. I had the bones of the press release.
Were you snarky in your press
No.
release?
I was just the intern and my work sucked. That's basically what it was.
Here's John in the Eckerl Bank inbox. Keeping 90,000 seats in a 100-year-old stadium is absolutely asinine. This is Nebraska fans showing their stupidity again when all the people that have been grandfathered in and don't have to donate start having to donate, Nebraska is going to be lucky to fill a 70,000 seat stadium.
Yeah,
so
I don't think. I think they'll be able to.
They'll
fill
be fine.
70,000.
I just don't like. This has been a point of pride, and so let's connect the point of pride piece. I think another reason why you haven't seen some movement on this, at least publicly, is that they are trying to make sure that the time is right to potentially do something that they have never done before, which is ask for help. Ask for money.
Public funding?
I don't know why people don't want to talk about this. It doesn't like
I can think of
one of Nebraska's strongest assets as a state has always been its ability to gather together and almost as sort of like an army or a military, like come together and be able to, prop something up or support something and whatever it might be. And I get it. Nebraska football hasn't won a lot of games lately, but people don't the Nebraskans in general don't harbor hatred toward the Nebraska football program. They may have lost a little bit of faith in it, over the years, but they're not going to be able to pay for an $800 million stadium. Okay. They're not going to be able to pay for almost $1 billion renovation of this thing. It's not a thing. Okay. So what's going to happen is what's been attempting to they're trying to find the right moment to say, we're going to need some help on this from you, the taxpayers. And I don't know if there is ever a right moment.
There is not.
So why not just do it?
Yeah. I think there would be support for some version of public funding with it. It's hard when you're in a state that has a shortfall in terms of revenue.
Of course.
It's hard when you're seeing cuts made.
When's that not going to be the case?
Yeah, no, that's the problem is you're in a state that doesn't generate money. You're in a state that doesn't have tourism. You're in a state that doesn't have, you don't generate money at the same level of other places. Like South Dakota doesn't have income, tax or property tax, whichever one it is, because they generate tourism and revenue off of tourism in the Black Hills and with, Mount Rushmore and everything else. And so all of that to say, like it's
Dakota.
The public funding option is difficult because you're going to have to seek money in a state where everyone is seeking money. Like your state government is attempting to, cut down in its spending.
Indeed.
And we've seen the university as a shell of what it was. And that's not like from a political standpoint. That's just from a financial standpoint. It has less money to operate and everything costs more. So it has less than it was probably 20 years ago in terms of faculty, in terms of programs, in terms of offering. That's unbelievably true. It doesn't mean the university's poor or broke or any of it, but it's just going to be somewhat hard to ask for $800 to $1 billion or however much needs to be publicly financed. When I'd say, the one thing that unequivocally makes money has been Nebraska football. It's like this weird catch-22. They need improvements to the stadium to continue being a cash cow that it is. They can't afford to do all of it themselves. So then they have to turn around and ask, where there will be someone that's like, hey, wait a minute, you have money and these entities don't. So it's I understand why it's politically sensitive.
Oh, for sure.
I understand why, like, when you're Trev Alberts, you're basically looking at like this and it's an unwinnable situation.
Yeah, that's
every
why
plan that's been put forward.
Part of the reason why he's not here anymore.
Yeah, every plan that's been put forward, people haven't really liked. There hasn't been like a popular, this is the fix for the stadium.
So what I meant by what I said earlier about, how the air is just less heavy around Nebraska football right now, and that probably is a bad thing. But maybe there's less, I don't know, opinions about what it has to be or what we have, what Nebraska has to prioritize in the next version of their stadium or whatever it might be. Now, the scope of the project is going to be large.
Has to be.
The scope of the project is large. and you don't have a time machine option. You can't publicly fund a time machine and go back to 15 years ago.
What an idea.
That would be a more cost-effective idea for Nebraska.
Go back in time. Every Steve Peterson idea, no.
Purchase a time machine, do stadium renovations in 2011, when they did East Stadium, and just do the whole thing, or just knock the whole thing down then, and then go from there. But you can't. Unfortunately, that technology does not exist. So we're left with a giant project.
Yeah.
That is that the work is already underway on. It's just it needs that I think Nebraska has been waiting a long time to put their plans out there because they're worried about optics and the backlash and all that crap, and and so we'll see when if and when it comes out at the Board of Regents meeting, if indeed that is next Friday, or if they wait another 2 months, which would be the next Board of Regents meeting until then. So let's take a phone call quickly. Here's Nate on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. What up, Nate?
My friends, how are you?
Good.
This is going to be the Nate call that you hate the most, but I'm gonna articulate this exceptionally well, I think. So first, I'm going to pause this and start this by saying I support Matt Rule. I think he is the guy with the vision. I think he's a bad game day coach, but the perfect program manager. And I don't think we're going to do much better than Matt Rule in this era. So I'm perfectly happy in giving Matt Rule what he needs. Break. We need to understand, at best, this is an 8-win consistent program, and once a decade you might hit 10, and twice a decade you're probably going to hit 5 or 6. That being the case, I am nowhere near willing to commit this kind of money, public or otherwise, as a booster, as a taxpayer, to doing anything of this level. No desire, because here's the thing. You go, well, I want to upgrade the stadium so we can compete. Unless you're bringing back Prop 48, you're not going to. It's not going to happen. It is simply not going to happen. And we have to stop having unrealistic goals and just screwing away millions upon millions of dollars to find and reach something that is actually unattainable. It's not going to happen. I would rather, much, much rather, you tank all of that same $500-600 million into basketball and baseball and win at everything else. Because if you're giving me an athletic department that is producing a volleyball top 10 team, a baseball top 10 team, a softball top 10 team, a basketball top 15 team year in and year out, I don't care if football wins 6 games. I don't care. But we keep thinking that there's going to be, well, if we just spend, I'm sorry, I'm going to say what this is. We're doing what white America does best. We think if we throw a bunch of money at it, the problem goes away. No, the problems here have never been resources. We've lost all of our competitive advantages in weight training and sports nutrition and academic partial qualify. It's not coming back. If Tom Osborne were 30 and brought him back, it would not come back. What made Nebraska unique and special is gone, and that's okay. We lived in the sun. We're dying in the twilight. Let's do something better with our resources.
Nate.
And it's okay to say that.
All right, great call.
It's fine to say that.
You did articulate
really?
it well, Bob. You articulated it well.
Really?
I have a couple things, but I'll respond.
Well,
thanks.
God bless you, brother. I always want to talk to you.
Thanks for the call, Nate. Appreciate it. He articulated it well. I don't think anybody, I hope nobody is under the guise that if and when Nebraska makes a huge renovation or builds a new stadium, that it will make the football team better. Like that I hope that's not the connection.
Yeah, there's no part of this to me that thinks there's a wins and losses component.
Yeah, no, Nebraska needs to do this not to keep up with the Joneses or like whatever. Nebraska needs to do this because they need to do it. It's time.
Failing infrastructure.
They need a new stadium.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with whether they're winning or losing football games. So there's that. I want to respond to a couple more things off of that. We'll do that when we return on 1620 The Zone. All right, just a couple minutes left here. Well, shoot writes in on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. With all due respect to that last caller, absolutely not. If you think Nebraska football is going to be a once-in-a-decade 10-win team and an average of 8-win program and still be sustaining money flow to pay for all the other sports, you are the problem. Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't sound that bad. I think our point was the stadium has nothing to do with the fact that
the wins and losses are not based on the stadium. I mean, I've been to Indiana's football stadium. It sucks. They won the national championship.
Now, I do understand that people's lack of excitement about having a new stadium or having improvements to the stadium is directly tied to the wins and losses. But the truth of the matter is they're building a new, or they're renovating the stadium because they have to. It is failing. It is 100+ years old, and something has to happen.
And it needs to be modernized in a lot of ways.
Yes.
So like, it's not that the stadium's going to fall apart like tomorrow, though there are parts of it that aren't.
Yes. It's getting to that point.
Aren't doing particularly well, but you want to make sure it's structurally sound. You want to make sure that you're more modernized. You want to improve the fan experience. You have these old concourses, and there's just a lot of things that kind of have to be considered. I don't know what the full plan will be. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be big. There's
it going to cost.
Well, they're gonna whenever this gets heard in front of the Board of Regents, they're gonna have to tell them, like, here's how much this is going to cost, and then everybody in the public will find out how much it is going to cost.
And then everyone's going to undershoot it by about 100 million. Correct. So just add that right in.
At least. It is going to cost much more than what they think it's going to cost. Because once again,
everything costs more.
Everyone costs more than what you think it's going to cost. I tried to buy McChickens the other night, and it costs like $7 for 2 of them.
$2 cheaper than the Big Arch.
$3.50 for McChickens these days.
I'm pretty sure it was either in the low 3s or high 2s for McChickens.
You should have went to York.
I don't think that would have helped me.
It would have been even more when you factor in the gas.
Now there are some folks who want to build the new stadium, just tear it down, build new stadium in Gretna, buy new Buc-ee's, stop all construction at Eppley Airport, and move Big Airport out to the cornfield in Gretna.
Yeah, I like this.
Some people like this idea.
I am a fan.
Then we'd actually have a need for public transportation to get out there. We could have a train or something like that goes out to there.
The streetcar's going to Gretna.
Mega Airport is Lincoln Omaha Airport. The streetcar would
imagine them
6 hours to get to Gretna.
Imagine them tearing up the interstate just for the streetcar.
Dear God, could you imagine the strife this town has had to go through just for 30 blocks of a streetcar? They would need some help. We need some help at that point in time. All right. We will see what happens as far as the stadium is concerned. Maybe soon, maybe later, but there's more conversation about it. That's for sure. That will do it for us today on the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can and should find it. Let's do a crossover that we're going to try and get Matt to enjoy next.